Hello, everybody. Welcome. This is StarShip Adventures. We're going to give it just a few minutes for everyone to get in here, but we're going to do a news roundup tonight. We're going to be following some storm chasers out near Wichita, Kansas tonight, and we're also going to be watching Tel Aviv and Jerusalem, where the bombs have been falling there, and we're going to be continuing to watch that area for anything happening there. And I have the ability to play audio and video from anywhere that we can get it. So we're going to be doing that tonight for a little while as we discuss the very latest in all of the news and things going on. So just stay with us for just a minute. And we will be live here in we're live now, but we're going to be coming on in just a minute here as soon as we gather some people in here and I get all the screens all set up. We're going to be doing our thing here. So just give us a second. And we're going to cover the news. I guess I need like a 3-minute opener or something so I can get in and get everything going, and then come in like at the top of the show or whatever. All right, there we go. So that storm there near Arkansas City, southeast of Wichita, is a bad storm, and we've got 3 storm chasers out there. We got a couple ahead of it and one behind it. And it is jaying up, and I think it's probably going to try to put down a tornado. There's something wrong with my radar Omega. It started last night, and I don't know what it is. So it's not showing the tornado warnings right, and I don't know what's going on. So until I can figure that out, and I am going to work on that. But anyway, we can see what's going on with it. The 3 views on the left side are the 3 circles that you see. There's actually 2, one on top of each other right here because they're running together. But there's 3 of them out there chasing this storm southeast of Wichita, Kansas. And then tonight I'm also going to talk a little bit about the potential solar storm that we've got that we're looking at possibly starting up here. And for those of us that are amateur radio operators, of course, we follow that kind of stuff. It's pretty important. And so I'm going to discuss with you guys that. And also a really neat conjunction that's going on right now. If you walk outside on the East Coast, and if you walk outside in just a few hours on the West Coast, you're going to see a conjunction between Mars and Regulus. And this is really cool because, for various reasons, this is really cool. One of the neat things, one of the reasons I think it's neat is because what we basically have is a planet in our solar system and a distant star that are right next to each other tonight. And it's one of the brightest stars in the sky. And it's up there. And what I'm doing, I'm pulling it up right now so I can show you guys a picture of this because I think it's really cool. Let's see if I can get that to come up right now. Here we go. There we go. And you probably wonder why does Regulus sound familiar? Do you guys anybody remember? Let me get my I still haven't got my chat room up yet. I'm sorry guys. Let me get that going here. All right. A lot of people coming in tonight. I appreciate that. There we go. My chat room's up. All right. Does anybody remember where we would know the word Regulus from? Does anybody have any idea? You can see there on your screen, and I realize I'm not in studio mode, so I literally just did all that right in front of you. But anyway, this is, that is the bottom thing you see there. That is Regulus. And the top one is Mars. And so you'll see these right next to each other tonight, which is really cool. Regulus is not just one star, but it's actually a system of stars. The primary component, though, that we see mostly is Regulus A. Let's see here. It's a blue-white main sequence star that is much hotter and brighter than our sun. It emits a bluish-white light. It has a dim companion that is believed to be a white dwarf. Other components, let's see here. Besides Regulus A, there's an orange star, Regulus B, and another faint star, Regulus C, that forms a binary pair that with Regulus B. Regulus is located in the constellation Leo, and it's visible for most of the year, except for a period between right around August 22nd, when it is too close to the sun for us to see. The name Regulus comes from Latin, which means little king or prince. It's also known as the heart of the lion. The significance: Regulus is a key star for stargazers, being the brightest star in Leo and one of the brightest in the sky. It also is a useful marker for finding celestial objects. Now, remember, if you remember the trivia I asked you, where do we remember Regulus from? That's where Khan got the Genesis device on Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. The best movie ever made. I mean, come on. They went to Space Lab Regula 1 in orbit around Regulus, a planet there at Regulus, and they went to the nebula nearby. So it's just interesting because tonight we're actually looking at the planet where Khan got the Genesis device. I think that's pretty cool. For those of you who are not Star Trek fans, I apologize for the last 3 minutes. All right, let's see. What do we got here? Hello, everybody. Mike, welcome in. Nathan, welcome in. Heather, welcome. I appreciate everybody coming in. I do read the chat room every now and then. I get my head up my you-know-what for a few minutes, but I do get back to it, I promise. Thank you for being here, everybody. This is Starship Adventures. My name's Ian. We are live tonight in Southwest Florida, where we had a thunderstorm go through a little while ago, but it's all calming down now. We're watching severe weather right below me here. We've got this big cell here southeast of Wichita, Kansas, moving east-northeast at about 45 miles an hour, and we've got 3 storm chasers out there chasing it, and you can see those on the left side of the screen. This brought to us by Radar Omega, the best radar you'll ever find. And then you've got, and by the way, that's not a paid promotion. I actually pay him for it. I pay to use it. It's so good. See the little boxes lighting up? Those are power outages. We've got power outages now being reported from this storm cell. And just to show you guys what we're looking at here, if you click here, it'll tell you we've got 606 people out of county in Sumner, out of power in Sumner, 15,000 without electricity currently in Sedgwick County, and Sedgwick's the county that actually has Wichita. And then Butler County now reporting 2,700 people without electricity. So as this supercell moves to the east here, it is causing power outages. Another sign that we might have rotation that's reached the ground. Or it could be straight line winds, of course. We know that as well. So I'm watching that one. And, of course, we're watching Jerusalem very closely as well. And then there's that conjunction I wanted to talk to you guys about. And then the next thing that I wanted to mention to you is, oh, it just did the wrong thing. Hold on. The next thing I'd like to mention to you is we've got a situation out there right now where on the sun, there is a sunspot that has turned around and is now facing Earth. It's Earth directed. It's facing right at us right now. And so because of that, there's some concern that this could end up being an issue for us. And so basically what we got here, and I'm gonna put this image in the machine here so I can show it to you. Here we go. Let me put this in here. Sorry, I'm producing, guys. When you produce and talk, it's kind of hard to do both. Here we go. This is the sun. Let me pull this up here. Wow, that's really big. Hold on. Let me work on this for a second. NASA and their high resolution shots. I'm not really complaining, if you know what I mean. But man, that's high resolution. Okay, so what I'm going to show you is a shot of the sun that's taken from our spacecraft here, looking at our sun, God, I really want to get it small enough that you can at least see what you're looking at as far as the sun goes. There we go. Okay, here we go. This is the disk right now as it looks from the planet, and you can notice that that sunspot region right there looks quite suspicious. Sunspot number 4114 is directly facing Earth right now. It's got an unstable Delta-class magnetic field that harbors energy that's strong enough that it can create an explosion on the surface of the sun. NOAA forecasters are estimating a 75% chance this evening and overnight for an M-class flare and a 30% chance for an X-class flare. This one's not a huge sunspot, but the fact that it's Earth-directed and the fact that it's got that unstable Delta-class magnetic field, it's going to go off. It's a ticking time bomb. Now, if it waits a day and a half, it won't be directly facing us. We will still get some of it in the solar wind, but it won't be directly facing us. The sun, it's like guns sticking out. And if you're in front of the barrel when it goes off, you get shot. And that's kind of how it works with the sun as these sunspots rotate around. And so we're going to be watching that because we could actually have a flare-up tonight of auroras. I am watching the aurora oval tonight. We're watching for that to expand, and there you go. All right, anybody put your questions in the chat room. I take questions on just about anything science or news. I do not do politics. I do politics at work. That's my job. I produce political talk radio, and I want nothing to do with it when I'm not working. So when I'm here, anything but politics. I will talk about anything you want. I don't care what you put in the chat room. If you guys want to bitch about politics in the chat room, I really don't care. But because I have a free speech chat room, and I'm not going to tell you what you can say. But that being said, I'm not going to do politics on the channel. The solar indices, yeah, we can take a quick look at that. That's always something fun to look at. Let's see here. All right, yeah, propagation. You know, when you're a ham radio operator, propagation is king, man. It is really literally everything. And let's see, open, copy link address. I'll just put this in so you guys can see it right on the screen. So just give me a second here. Takes me a second to I'll produce on the fly here. All right, yeah. If you guys, I'm going to show you guys. Well, maybe not. Yeah, let's see here. All right, yeah. I'm going to show you guys this. This is called. This is the solar data. Give me just a second to get it all centered up. You know, it's got to be a pain in the ass. And I'm going to tell you guys where you can get this. I'm going to put the link to this in the chat room. It's free. Oh, shit. That's the wrong one. Sorry, guys. Give me just a second. I'm sorry. I really am. What I did was I literally just screen captured the sample one instead of the real one. That's what I want right there. Okay, here we go. All right, so anyway, what it basically does is it's a website that's going to tell you all the latest things about the current state of the sun and the Earth and our solar system and the weather environment in space. Yeah, there's actually weather in space. It's pretty cool. You know, it's not rain, but it rains protons, so I guess that kind of counts. But here's what we're talking about. I'm going to put it on the screen for you guys right in the middle. This is, you can actually get these in a bunch of different formats and put them right on your website for free. The website you want for this is, it's on hamsql.com. I'm going to put the link right in the chat room. And you guys can pull this up. You can see it here, or you can actually get the code and put it right on your own website. Like if you've got a blog or a website where you do science stuff or you do radio propagation or space weather, this is a really cool thing. This shows you everything you need to know. In the upper left corner there, the solar flux index, the SFI. That's one of the most important numbers because that's basically a quantity of energy. And then you've got the K index, which is the amount of disturbance that's in the ionosphere. Those are the two numbers we look for. We want a high solar flux with a low K index. Right now, a K index of 3 is fair. It's not really good, it's just fair. You really want it down at 0 or 1, because when the ionosphere is really thin like a piece of glass, it reflects more of your energy back down to Earth. When it's all disturbed, like a K3, K4, K5, those go all the way up. When it gets up into those higher numbers, then it's like reflecting water, reflecting light off of something that's not smooth. It doesn't reflect that much of the light. And if something is smooth, it reflects a lot more of the light. It's the same thing with the ionosphere. So you want that K index literally as low as you can get it, while the solar flux, you really kind of want it high. And then also, this shows you the band conditions, 80 meters through 40 meters. That's 7 megahertz on down. And then you've got 30 meters up to 20 meters. That's, 10 through 14 megahertz there. And then 17 and 15, you're up in the 20s. 12 to 10, you're up to 28 megahertz there. And so it basically shows you what bands are going to work in what parts of the day. Is this absolute? Absolutely not. It's basically an indicator. And then your higher bands are down here, 6 meter, 4 meter, 2 meter. And you're probably wondering what's 4 meter. Well, in a lot of countries, they have 4 meter band for amateur radio. We just don't have it here in this country. But these will show you if there's band openings on these bands. But notice 3 are in Europe and 1 is in North America. So we don't have a lot there. The probability of solar flare is right here, 66%. EME degradation, that's kind of an indicator of how much of your signal will actually make it through. And then you're down here where it says geomagnetic field, that's the same as the K index. When the K index says 0, it'll say calm. When it says 7, it'll say storm. So whatever the K index says, you can look down here, and that's what it's actually doing. It's unsettled right now, which is a 3. Signal to noise level, there you go, S2 to S3. And your MUF, your minimum usable frequency, as measured in the U.S. at Boulder, Colorado, and there's no report on that right now. And then there's an image of the sun, and there's that solar flare that you can see that sunspot and that mess right there, upper center, right there. Okay, so that's how that works, and I put the link in for you guys so you can get to the website and you can look up that stuff yourself. Let's see what this is. Did you guys see the guy for mayor get roughed up in New York? I heard about that. I actually haven't seen the video on it because, again, when I'm done with politics, I put it in the rearview mirror. But yeah, it's funny. Yeah, I think he got arrested for protesting or something. They got him. He's running against Mario Cuomo. I do it with everyone. Anyway, let's leave that right there. Let's go back to our multi-screen here. Looks like we've lost Tel Aviv. Let me see if I can figure out what's going on with that. Hello, CQ Tel Aviv. Nope, that's not it. I may have to get another one. So many of these feeds are piggybacked off of other feeds. And they'll go down, but that doesn't mean the actual feed is down. It just means that the person piggybacking it that I was piggybacking it off of went down. It's stupid. Last couple nights ago, we were live on the air when missiles started coming in to Tel Aviv, and we watched the Iron Dome get all but one of them. Well, that's that same. They must have just changed the. They must have changed the feed link, because this. I think this is the original feed coming out of CNBC. I think. Let's see. Yeah, that looks all right. That looks stable. Let's hold that for a while. And of course, the storm chasers. Those 3 in the bottom on the left there. Those are storm chasers. What is that doing there? That's bizarre. Okay, no big deal. I lost my other screen there, but I'm going to find it because it's right here somewhere. Boy, that Iron Dome is something to watch, I'll tell you. Well, it's been reported. It's been reported that Iran has approximately 100 vehicles for which they can launch these missiles from. And it's also said that each time they use them to launch the missiles, they have to immediately move them, because if they don't, they'll get blown up. Because as soon as they launch from that location, the location's given away, and then all hell rains down on wherever that vehicle was just parked. So they have to basically use everything they do has to be very, very mobile. And so when you add that fact to the fact that they're using old equipment that's sitting out in the desert, you can just imagine. I'm sure they're right on maintenance schedule with everything, right? I mean, you got to think about stuff like this. They're using crap equipment that was like Russian leftover stuff from 40 years ago, and they've welded stuff together. And I mean, you got to understand, it's a little different. For the most part, Iran does not build any of their own equipment. They may build some of their own armament, but they really don't build that much. Most of it they get from somewhere else. And most of it's old, because most militaries won't sell you something until it's pretty damn old. All right, well, anyway, we got that shot back from Tel Aviv. I had another shot of like 6 or 8 cameras, and I can't find that one now. It's gone. I don't know what's going on tonight. There was a meeting in the war room. Trump has left that meeting. We don't know at this point what's going to happen. Trump gave the warning that anyone that lives in the capital there in Iran should leave, in Tehran. They should leave now, and they should get the hell out of there. That's pretty ominous. So, yeah, we'll have to see what happens. That's another reason I'm live tonight, and we're watching this. We're watching this live right now as it all unfolds. Yeah, apparently in Tehran, they're now issuing middle of the night evacuation orders in Tehran. So I think they're expecting incoming from us or from the IDF. I'm not sure. It's that FAFO thing. F around and find out. I mean, you know, you awake the beast, man. I'm telling you, it's not good. All right, so let's get out of that. Let's do this. As far as protests, I'm watching for protests. I'm not seeing any protests. I think those are over. Last night, we had about 10 guys that were out at an intersection outside of downtown L.A., near, I think it was near Compton or something. And that was it. That's all I could find all night long. That was it. So I'm starting to really think. I'm really starting to think that that's where that's at. De pluribus unum. Skywarn training. I am Skywarn trained. I did it after they stopped issuing numbers, but I am Skywarn trained. And we do have a Skywarn net here called the NI4CE system. And there is a radio for that system inside the National Weather Service office in Ruskin, Florida. And they do Skywarn on that system. Yeah, it does work. I've got the phone numbers and everything. And I do storm chase. So if I see something and it's getting down to the ground, I call it in. Just like you're supposed to. Yeah, there's Skywarn's pretty cool. I will tell you, the program, it's a government program that they don't care about anymore, so it's not being managed very well. took me a while just to get somebody to respond to me, but I did finally get everything through and take the training. And I took a lot of that training with amateur radio, a bunch of the FEMA classes, also the ARRL classes, the 1 and the 16 and all that. Yeah, I've done all that. I've got everything I need to get my task book signed off to level 3. But do you think I could find somebody that would sign my task book off to level 3? No. Let's see. Intel cams. What do you mean? So to finish what I was saying with Iran, their trucks are old. They're not running well. The missiles are old. They're going to run out of missiles eventually. I don't, this can't really be too prolonged of an issue. I don't think, just because of the sheer fact that that the IDF can go on indefinitely. Now, if Iran is being secretly stalked by another country, all bets are off, and I'm sure there's probably some of that going on. But the stuff they're shooting is pretty primitive. It's effective. It'll still kill people. It's still lethal. But it's not near as effective. I'm looking at the protest videos, guys, all old. They've got all the rolls going tonight. There's 200 channels on YouTube right now that are all displaying live videos of rioting in downtown LA. And of course, it's horse's ass. There's nothing going on. I do have a live cam here that purports to be live. Let's see what this looks like. I'm going to throw it in the center up top there. Nope, that's not. Oh yeah, that is it. Okay, I have no idea if this is live. It's going out as live. A guy named Danny's putting this out. Pico Rivera, California protest. Is this going on right now? That's a big crowd. I mean, we have to decide on this one, I guess. Well, why is it spinning? It's working over here. All right, well, let me see if I can find anything else on this one. Backseat protester. Kind of like a backseat driver, I guess. Yeah, they actually, believe it or not, guys, and again, I'm not going to get political. I'm not going to take sides. But I thought it was very strange that our local print media down here, our Gannett-owned newspapers down here in Southwest Florida, actually published a guide on how to go to protests. And it included things like face coverings and gas masks, and don't bring your driver's license. That way you can't be identified, and write important phone numbers on your forearm. And I'm like, oh my God. They're publishing like the list of how to be a good rioter. It's like, wow, Jesus. Maybe this is the future of things here. I don't know. What's this one all about? Santa Ana City Council. Well, there's E pluribus unum right there. I'm looking at a city council meeting. I don't know what's going on there. Yeah, I don't see anything really going on there. They're just talking about business. I'll check back in there in a little while. ICE protest update. Let's see what this is all about. That could be current. Let me see what I can do here. All right, give me a second, guys. I'm moving a few screens around here, trying to get as much up here as I can for you guys. I've got another feed here that I want to put up. Let's see if I can get this one to come in. Oh, no, I pulled the wrong one. Let's try this one. There we go. There we go, you guys. I wonder if there's going to be a curfew tonight. I'm going to go check that out. I'm going to do I got a little more of a news roundup coming up, too. These both purport to be live, so I'm going to put them up here, and you guys can tell me this. And I've been doing this for 12 days now, so I feel like a damn pro. I'm telling you that what I look for is the angle of the sun in the sky, and right now we are about 2 hours and 20 minutes before sunset. So the sun's going to be fairly low in the sky. So these both look like the sun is on the right angle. Now, whether they're the right day or not, I can't tell you. I know this is the detective work that I have to do here. I try very hard to only put up live stuff. I don't want Memorex. There we go. All right, yeah, so those are both in upright format there. All right, so, and again, we're watching Tel Aviv. I've got the flight radar up. We've also, you got that up over there? Or you got something else going up over there, yeah. You're doing weather. I'll put your link out in a few minutes. All right, so tonight in studio, helping me out here tonight, I've got Simplex Radio. Simplex Radio is a family member that likes to. He's getting started in YouTube as well, and we're having a good time getting him going. And he's got his channel going good, and we're trying to get him some likes. So, oh boy, this thing is really pissing me off tonight. Like it's doing it on purpose. Hey Victor, what's up, buddy? There is Simplex Radio's link. If you guys could go give him a subscribe, I'd really appreciate it. We're really trying to get him going. He does a lot of the same stuff we're doing here. He's covering some weather stuff over there right now, and he's getting his systems going. He's built a little studio at his house. He's doing good. He also has privileges here at my studio, so he's going to be producing some really good YouTube. So check him out. And let's see, what else? So we're watching, back to the solar flares. We are watching for solar flares. Go out and check out that conjunction right now between Mars and Regulus. It's going on right now. Trying to see which way you look here. Is Leo a dwarf galaxy? Yeah, probably. All right. So anyway, let's leave that there, and let's go to the next. Let's go on to the next thing, and see what else is going on in the world out there. Again, Tehran. There's been not only has President Trump said I would not be sleeping my ass in Tehran tonight, but now they're reporting that the officials there in Tehran, the Iranian government, has issued evacuation orders for Tehran. So there's probably going to be something break loose tonight. I was looking for a live cam in Tehran. As you can imagine, probably not the easiest thing to find. But let me look again. There might be something going on. We will have dawn in Tehran and in Iran and in Israel coming up in a few, like 3 or 4 hours. They're in the second half of their night right now. I'm looking for anything that's live out of Iran, specifically Tehran, Iran. Let's see what we got here. Okay, I've got a little news roundup here. Let's who's putting this out? Times of India? Yeah, see, this is going to have a big slant on it. I don't put up stuff that has a big slant. You know, you decide for yourself. I'm going to report it, and I'm going to show you what's going on, and then you have to decide for yourself. I'm not going to sit here and tell you what's right and wrong. But I am right now. All these channels that have been spoofing these riots are now back over spoofing this now. And they're all showing the video from 2 nights ago over Tel Aviv over and over and over again now. I hate that. Am I mentioning that to you guys? I hate that. All right, so anyway. YouTube's constantly putting on ads for the other TV station that I don't work at. You missed a mark there, buddy. Jeez. I'd like to just put an ad blocker or something on there, but I'm a YouTube content creator, and I believe in, doing the right thing. So it's very important to me. So limited edition. Thank you very much for the super chat. I really appreciate that. I really, really appreciate that. I'm going to be doing this all the time. If you guys like this, I'm getting lots of numbers here. I got almost 100 people in here watching. If you guys like this, I'll do this every night. I mean, some nights is like tonight, there's not a lot to report on. Some nights I have tornadoes on the ground, long track. We can pull up the scanners. I already do that kind of stuff. But we can roll this into more of a regular thing if you guys want to do that. Because, I mean, you sent me a super chat. That tells me that you like what I'm doing, and I appreciate that. I really do, and I'm very cognizant of that. I've been I retired from the fire service back in 2001, and I've been in broadcast radio, and that's what I do now. And I decided 5 years ago to start my own YouTube channel, and it takes a very, very long time to get to 17,000 subscribers. And I'm just so happy to be where I'm at right now, and I'm so happy that you guys have found me and you like what I do. It makes it all worthwhile. And we all love what we do here. My wife, Carlotta Alata, has a channel. My best friend, Joseph, has a channel. My grandson has a channel. So I mean, we do a lot of stuff. I have a backup channel, StarShip After Dark. We do a lot of different stuff here. But yes, thank you very much for the super chat. I really do appreciate that. Those make a lot of difference to me because that's a direct indicator that I did something right. And every human likes that. I don't care if you're a narcissist or not. All right, so let's see where we're at here. Let's move on here. There you go. Thanks for the subs for our for the Simplex Radio channel. Thank you very much. He's up to 81 over there. We're trying to get him up to 100 tonight. I think we can do it. Let's see here. Most of this stuff is all political on here, and I don't want to get into any of that crap. Yeah. All right. Well, so I don't see anything but politics on there. So what we're going to do next is I'm going to go over here and I'm going to get the I'm going to see if there was anything reported on any or unrest. All right, let's see. I'm gonna try a couple of different things here, and I'm gonna tell you guys what I do, because one of the things I like to do on this channel is be very transparent. I'm using Streamlabs. I use Radar Omega. I use Flight Radar 24. I use the YouTube Studio. I'm very transparent about what I do because I work very hard, and if you work very hard, you can achieve stuff too. I'm not one of these people that tries to keep everything like a big secret. All right, so what we do is I went over to Grok, and I typed in Grok. Hey, Grok, what I want. Grok, by the way, is the X equivalent to ChatGPT. And I said, what I want you to do, I said, report on any riot or unrest in any major city today. Give facts for each. That's all I typed. As of 9:50 p.m. Eastern on Tuesday, June 14th, 2025, there's no confirmed reports of active riots or significant unrest anywhere in the United States based on the current information. However, recent events provide context for ongoing tensions. Los Angeles, California, protests against immigration and custom enforcement raids have been ongoing since early June 2025, with significant unrest reported. And then it just goes back through all the numbers again. But so far, nothing really reported today. On June 14th, during the No Kings protest in Portland, Oregon, they tried to breach an ICE facility. Tear gas was used. It was a big mess. Salt Lake City, the last thing that was reported back on the 14th, shooting incident occurred during the protest. Other incidents nationwide, No Kings protests, mostly wrapped up on the 14th. There was some on the 15th. Last night, we couldn't really find much of anything. It was pretty much nothing. Now, both Grok and ChatGPT have a feature that's really cool. Last night, I was asked, and I'm hoping I can pull this back up because I want to read it to you. I think it's in here still. I was asked last night, hey, what about this ship? There's a ship out there that's gotten taken over, and and something's happened with this ship, and I don't know what happened with the ship. So I'm like, well, let's ask ChatGPT and let's instruct it to do deep research. And so that's what I did. So looking at this, I pulled it up and I put in, here's what my prompt was. I put in there, give me anything on this from the last 3 days. Gulf of Omar, U.S. oil tanker, Thor, which is Throm or Thor is the name of the ship. That's all I put in. And it comes back with U.S. flag tanker from Thor, recent status, Gulf of Oman, June 25. Current position and voyage. AIS tracking performed shows Thor sailing in the Gulf of Oman en route to Saudi Arabia. My ship tracking data on AIS reports the tanker at 25.56 longitude north and 56.75 east in the Gulf of Oman. As of June 17th, proceeding at 13.4 knots towards the Ras Tanana. The vessel at 50,000 U.S. flag chemical oil. It's a 50,000, what is that, displacement? I forget. Whatever. It's a large ship, flagged commercial oil tanker, departed Sohar Anchorage, Oman on June 13. It was expected to arrive throughout this time. The Thor has been transmitting an AIS normally under the U.S. flag with no reported loss of communication or movements off the schedule. Regional naval activity, Gulf of Oman lies squarely in the U.S. Fifth Fleet's area of operation, and the U.S. and allied forces naval have been very active in the region. The recent months, the U.S. Navy has conducted large-scale, and it literally goes through everything about the ship. It talks about the ports of call that was in. It talks about security advisories that have gone out that the ship would have been notified of. I was like, dude, that's pretty cool. And but no, it didn't find anything about anything happening to that ship. Now, I haven't run it again today. There may be something with that ship. I don't know. But I think it's really cool that you can do deep research. It takes 5 or 10 minutes for it to complete. But the fact that you can do deep research, I think is absolutely amazing. And I have had it compare the complaints for one store against the complaints for another store and aggregate the top 5 common complaints and put them in order from 1 to 5 and give me a description. And it does it. It completes it like a book report for school, man. I'm telling you. This is it's an amazing tool that we have. It really is. It's absolutely amazing tool. I'm very, very happy with the way it's working out. I mean, it won't rise up and kill us for years or months anyway. I mean, it'll be a while. Yeah, the mayoral candidate. I love it. Uh, yeah, I wouldn't want to be flying Qatar Airlines. Have we ever figured out how to pronounce Qatar? Is it Qatar or Qatar or gutter or gutter or quater or quat? Yeah, I call it Qatar, but I don't know. Any protests over there? I don't know. I haven't really been looking for protests overseas. I could take a quick peek though. Oh, good. My virus protection's up to date, everybody. Isn't that awesome? That virus protection that ain't worth a shit is all up to date. All right. Let's see what else we got going on up there. Thanks, Juan. I appreciate that. And Root Man, yes, there has been reports of ICE operating in both Naples and Fort Myers here. Yeah, nothing big, but yeah. Say hi to Carlotta Alada. Is she out there? I haven't seen her. Carlotta Alada's my wife. She's got a channel on here called Carlotta Alada, and we're trying to get her to 1,000. You know how hard it is to get to 1,000 on here? It took me a year and a half, or 2 years. No, I'm sorry. It took me almost 4 years to get to 1,000. It's difficult. All right, but it's supposed to be difficult. You know what? It can't be easy for everybody. You have to work for it, and only the ones that work for it get it, because only so many people can get it. You have to do it. You have to do it. I get it. I love the fact that hard work is what makes it happen, and not luck. Although there is a little bit of that. You can always be that one person that gets the viral video, and then now you've got a following and you didn't do much to get it. But they don't normally last long. Those don't normally last long. Oh, hey, thanks for the super chat. Let's see, KJ, thank you for the super chat very, very much. I really appreciate that. And yes, I'm going to be doing this every night. If you guys, it's hard to know exactly what people want, but if you guys like this, if this is fun for you guys, where we just sit here and talk about the news, non-politically talk about the news, and we talk about the weather, and we talk about science, and we talk about ham radio. And by the way, I know a lot of you guys aren't in ham radio, so I will touch and go on that subject, okay? I'm not going to bore you to death. I'm not going to do 3 hours of scientific theory on radio propagation tonight, I promise. Was there? I'm not seeing any live video, but let me see what else I can find out of New York. It's hard out of New York because there's so many people that stream out of New York, and it's all canned or not related. And I'll tell you something else. You put the word protest or riot in there, you get everything. You get all, because everybody uses those words in their keywords, and you end up getting everything in there. Let's see what I can come up with, though. Yeah, I really appreciate it. I'm glad you guys like this. Kentucky, I love it. From Kentucky. Well, let's just say I have family right near there in Illinois, right across the river. All right. And let's see here. Yeah, I'm looking for that in New York. Where do they get all these angry pictures of all these politicians? That's what I want to know. I've never seen so many angry pictures of Trump in my life. He's like yelling and screaming and spitting. All right. Crux, of course. There's Times Square. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. I can't really show a lot of Times Square because it's Earth Cam. Earth Cam slams people for copyright, and even though you're legal under fair use, they will still fight you right up to the court point, the point of going to court, and then they'll back down. I've already been through it with them. This is all, everything I do here is fair use. It's 100% legal. Flight Radar 24 I pay for. Radar Omega I pay for. Broadcastify, I provide 4 streams to them so that I have the ability to use it. Everything I use is legal, and I'm using it all under fair use. And so sometimes it's a little frustrating. let's see here. I will see what I can do here. Yeah, I see. I'm looking at Times Square right now, and I'm trying to see if I can get this to pull up real quick. EarthCam, I'm gonna tell you guys, I get pissed at EarthCam because they're such jerks. It's like, you've got the market, dude. It's your market. Just let me, I'm just putting up your stuff for a few minutes, whatever. All right, I'm gonna put it right there. I'm going to put it over Jerusalem there for just a second. That's Times Square. I'm not going to make it any bigger than that. But that's Times Square, and you can see there's a crowd there, but I don't think it's any bigger than normal. They got that whole stage area all cordoned off, but there's nothing going on there. I love that there's always steam coming out of the manhole covers. I love that. It's a neat touch that they do there, Carl, you live down here? Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I'm not sure what you mean by that. Oh, okay. Yeah, from DC. DC is my favorite town that I hate. And I love DC. I love to go there. I love to visit there. I love the Smithsonian. I love the mall. I love the federal buildings. I'm just a wonk. But I've got to where I just hate going there. It's just the traffic, the people, the transit, the crap, the mess. It's just, oh, God. But I love that town. It's literally the seat of power in the world. I just love that town. And, yeah, there you go. Absolutely love it. So we'll keep an eye on Times Square. But for now, I'm just going to pull that back off for now. There's Jerusalem again. It looks like we've got dawn breaking in Tel Aviv. So it's the end of another really long night for them. And I've got thunder in the distance here. Let's see what we got. There was nothing heading this way 20 minutes ago, but now I got thunder coming. This is Florida. We get such hot weather here in the afternoon. It was 95 or something today. It creates such an amazing amount of energy in the atmosphere, and it spools up and spools up and spools up, and then all of a sudden there's this massive release of energy, and these big thunderstorms go up 40,000 feet. They create lightning from hell, and gusts of wind. Luckily, no big tornadoes. We don't get big tornadoes down here. I guess it's just all that stuff moving off the coast. Yep, I guess it's just what's moving off the coast, and we're just hearing the back end of it. Anyway, there is on the flight tracker finally. Looks like LAPD might have put up their bird. Let's see. Nope, that's a private deal. I don't know who that is. But we are tracking one chopper. Oh, here's one. Who's this? Ah, Sheriff's chopper's up. Let's see what he's up to. He just took off. Yeah, we'll follow him. Let me put him on the follow. Let's see where the Sheriff's chopper's going. He's sitting there right now. I don't know what he's doing. All right, and let's look at the radar again and see if we got to move some stuff around. We still have our 3 storm chasers here. Where are they at? These guys are out here way ahead of the storm. We got one storm chaser here near Coffeyville, and the storm's coming up behind him. Look at that, a pretty significant storm. It looks like it's weakened a little bit in the last few frames. Let's take a look at this on the high-res velocity. Look at that. We do have some really strong winds in this storm. On this, for those of you who don't watch normally with me, I'm going to explain this real quick. This is called radial velocity, and what this shows me, red is rain and wind that is blowing away from the tower site, and green is blowing towards the tower site. Green and white and blue, that's the really strong winds moving towards the tower site. Red and then into orange and yellow would be the really strong winds coming away from the tower site. What we have here, I don't see a couplet as much as I see probably some straight line winds here, but you'll see a yin yang. It'll look like a yin and a yang, literally, like they come together on here. It'll look like a little hurricane on here, and that's when you know you've got a tornado on this, because normally when we look at the radar on TV, 95% of the time they're showing you this. Well, what that is, that's the amount of rain falling in each individual pixel on the screen. That's all that is. How much rain. It's a measure of volume. Okay? Now, what I like to use, especially with tornadoes, is we put it in velocity mode. And what this shows us is the speed that the clouds and the rain and everything is moving. Since the radar can see the rain, it can actually tell if the rain is moving and what direction it's moving in. If we can see the rain moving, now we can see rain moving in one direction and rain moving at the other direction, and where they come together and form a couplet like that, that's where your tornado is. It's really cool. Great, amazing technology. And you can even put this in motion like you do the regular radar, and you can watch it come in. It does get a little flaky. But yeah, I don't see a couplet. What I see is really strong straight line winds. This storm is going to have probably 60 mile an hour straight line winds coming in for sure. Let's take a look one more time here at this. What we're basically looking for, if this was a tornado, I'm going to draw in this ugly color so you guys can see it. If this was a tornado, you would see a couplet where you've got this, the green going one way and the red going the other way like this. We don't really see that. We don't see a couplet. What we see is we see a long straight line wind that comes down through here, and all of this wind is moving in this direction at about 45 or 50 miles an hour. And so when this does get to your town and it comes over, it is going to provide you with one or two pretty strong wind gusts that could be in excess of hurricane force right as it goes over, and then it will immediately calm back down again. But this looks more to me like a situation we're dealing with there rather than a tornado. I don't see a tornado right there right now. I think this is tornado warned. I'm having an issue right now with my damn radar. It's not showing me the tornado warnings for some reason, which is bizarre. Notice this area with the brown circle here. That is an area where we have a heightened risk tonight of severe weather. And looks like just that one area right there. But that's where we're looking at a heightened risk of severe weather. So I'm going to switch this back to reflectivity, put it back in motion again, and we can see our 3 storm chasers there. It looks like we've got a 4th one. Let's see who we pick up. There's Aaron Jack. It looks like we've picked him up. I'll put him right there. So there's Aaron Jack, and we've got a bunch of these different guys here. We've got Nathan Moore, Storm Chaser IRL. Nathan Moore. And who else do we got here? I like to give a shout out. Aiden OWX, that's Project Weather Eye. Aiden OWX, Project Weather Eye, and he is in Wellington, Kansas. And then east of him, we've got in Coffeyville, Kansas, we've got Tornado Peggy. I guess it is tornado pagery, I don't know. Anyway, there you go. I like to give a shout out. There's our 4 storm chasers that we've got active on this storm right now, and we're going to continue to watch this. I also have a camera up here. Let's see what we're seeing on that camera. This is a live camera in Burlington, Kansas, and it's not showing that much, but I'll go ahead and stick it over here for right now. We'll watch that for a minute, see if there's any lightning comes up on it. But anyway, there you go, and I'll leave that in motion. There's our 4 storm chasers and our 1 weather cam. You can see with the 5 circles there on the radar. Now let's take another look around. I see the sun is about to crest the horizon in Tel Aviv. We should see first light in Jerusalem here before long, and if in fact that's live. Every now and then these videos lag behind a little bit, but it should be live. Let me just double check that, and I will do a quick reset on that camera just to make sure. It looks like it's live. All right, and yeah, I want to thank all the folks that are in here. We've got we're north of 80 people in here watching right now. Thank you very much. The storm location, storms tonight are in Oklahoma and Kansas. We're between Wichita and Oklahoma City, and that includes Tulsa and Springfield, Pittsburgh, Joplin, and that's, by the way, that's the Pittsburgh there in Kansas. And let's see, Woodward. You can kind of see there. It's up between it's between Oklahoma and Kansas right now, and it's moving east. It's going to move into Mississippi, and it's going to move into Arkansas, and it's going to move into eventually into Kansas as it comes across. Or I'm sorry, it's in Kansas now. It's going to move further east. Anyway, there you go. Geography was never my strong suit. You want to be a meteorologist, you got to know geography. Yeah, well, that wasn't my problem. It was math that was the problem there. All right, let's see here. I don't know what this is, but it's not showing anything live anymore, so I'm going to go back. I'm going to go ahead and just stick this in there for right now. This is that Times Square cam. I'll stick it in that little small square. That way I won't get in trouble. I do really good on YouTube. I rarely ever have copyright issues or people complaining about me or anything. But Earth cams, man, they are zero tolerance on that. They actually, I think, pay people to sit there and bust people who are using their streams, even though they're technically using it under fair use. I challenged it all the way to the end and won because I was using it legally. You know, you can do something legally and still get in trouble, and you have to fight for, to make sure that people know that you were right. CNN's beating the war drums. Well, it doesn't surprise me. They all kind of do that. Mainstream media has a purpose and a reason to sensationalize. I'm not going to get into that. I'm not going to get into what's right or wrong with these ICE raids. It's a very difficult topic, to be honest with you, because it's not just political, It's not. It's very complicated because it's a legal complication, because if people come in without due process, then they can't expect due process on the way back out. And that's where my hang up is, because I try to side with human rights, and I try to do what's right for the country, but also what's right for people that are trying to do the right thing. And I keep coming back to the due process argument, and but I'm going to leave it there because I really don't want to get political. Let's see. I don't come down hard on it either way. It's going to work itself out. It is what it is. I don't want to talk anymore about it because I don't want to upset anybody. I talk about a lot of other things that we can all be duly interested in without talking about politics. All right, so it's 7:16 now in LA. It's 1 hour before sunset. I do believe that one shot is still live there. And the smoke you see in Times Square, that is not tear gas. That's steam coming out of the subway system, I guess. It's coming up through the road. That's a New York thing. I don't know. I guess they do that so you know you're in New York, as if you could miss it. All right, so let's go back over now and check out. The sheriff's chopper is going all the way across town, dude. He's like, yeah, I'm going all the way across town. I don't see any other choppers. I don't see anything going on tonight. I really don't. I know somebody told me there's this, there's that. I don't see anything. I don't see anything going on tonight as far as civil unrest. I just don't see it. I'm not saying there isn't any. By the way, a feature that Flight Radar 24 has, if you're a paid customer, is you can actually pull it up using satellite data and actually see the chopper and where it is and what it looks like below the chopper at this, at least at the time these photographs were taken by the satellite. But it's kind of another neat thing you can do with Flight Radar 24. I know I feel like I'm doing a commercial for him, but I'm not, I swear. All right, so anyway, let's, I'll pull him back up like this, and we'll just keep an eye on him. Let me put that in follow mode and look back over here. I still think those two are live there in the middle. All right, so let's let me do something here real quick. Something that AI is really good at is coming up with ideas. Advertising companies and advertising departments are using it like crazy. Everybody's using it right now, and it is really becoming. It's really becoming an aid for a lot of people. Is it going to dumb people down? I don't know. We could have that argument if you want one night. But what it basically comes down to is the fact that, hey, if I can do my job 10 times faster than I do it now, then I can make a lot more money. And that's really the bottom line. Every job we do, what we want to do is that job faster. We want to do it more efficiently, right? AI allows for you to have that efficiency, whether it's making your graphics, making your articles, making your blog posts. I make all my blog posts manually. I do use AI to help me write them, but I make them myself. I know somebody that has a thing go out, and it uses an algorithm to find an article that he would want to post on his blog, and it goes and gets the article, formulates it, puts it in his writing, and then blog posts it out on 9 services. And he never even sees it. So, you'd think the internet was full of crap before? All right, so let's do the top of the news. It's 10:20 on the East Coast, 7:20 on the West Coast. Not sure if there's a curfew tonight, but I think we may get to that here. Let's take a look. Number one, the top news of the day, the Israeli-Iran situation. The air war enters its 6th day. Renewed missile strikes exchanged on both sides for the 6th consecutive day. Explosions reported over Tehran and Karj early June 18th. Israeli tanks struck. Wow, that's slanted the way that was written. Israeli Defense Forces are investigating a shelling incident that's been reported. U.S. deployed additional fighter jets to the region amid rising tensions. Man, I gotta get this thing to quit using Reuters. It is so slanted to one side. Trump publicly urged Iran's supreme leader to surrender unconditionally. Iran reported banning high-level officials from using mobile devices. Global markets reacted with volatility. Oil prices spiked and the global indices have generally fallen across the globe. Global markets jitters as the Middle East tensions grow. Oil prices surge today to 76.70 per barrel, and that, of course, is for U.S. crude. Treasuries and the dollar strengthened amid the risk-off sentiment. Stocks dipped globally, noticeably in Asia and the Pacific, and in Europe. Stocks took quite a dip yesterday, or earlier today, I should say. Investors are awaiting a Fed report projections, and it's projected that no changes are expected, so probably not a lot of change there. All right, the G7 summit was disrupted by Iran-Israel conflict. Trump departed the summit early due to the Middle East escalation. G7 leaders delayed a unified Ukraine statement because of the unrest that was going on. Canada pledged 2 billion Canadian in military support to Ukraine. Marcon cautioned against regime change military action in Iran. G7 backed Israel and warned Iran was destabilizing. Climate, trade, and global security were all overshadowed by the disruption in the Middle East. Banks of Japan and Federal Reserve decisions coincided with the summit. All right, let me take a quick look in the chat before I go any further. Let's see here. Yeah, I'm not going to get into whole Soros, the Illuminati, the whole thing. I believe in some of it. I think there's truth to some of it, but I'm not going to get into that topic on here. Yeah, I'm in Southwest Florida, namely North Fort Myers. Yeah, yeah, I'm not sure that that's live, Carl. I've tried to vet that video. It is streaming out live. I do not recognize it from previous days. And I made the comment earlier, this may be live and there may be active protesting somewhere in LA. I've also made note twice that the sun is at the proper angle in the sky to be the current time in LA right now, which is 45 minutes before sunset. So I think that's live. And that's the case, then that would be some protesting going on. There certainly has been no reports of any unrest today, just maybe some peaceful protesting. Ukraine today did some missile strikes into Kyiv. Overnight missile raids in Kyiv killed at least 16 civilians. Russian drones struck Ukrainian missile bases days earlier. Rescue teams are searching for survivors in the bombed-out apartments. The UN called for Gaza and Kyiv. Civilian death tolls are disturbingly rising. NATO is convening a meeting, and they're wanting to scale up their support to try to get something worked out with both of these conflicts. Let's see. Oh, my God. A global measles outbreak. Over 900 cases of measles have been reported in Alberta this week. Health officials warn the spread due to low vaccine rates. School and clinics ramped up vaccine campaigns. Global health agencies monitoring for international spread. Travelers to Canada are urged to ensure MMR vaccinations. Symptoms include high fever, rash, cough, and red eyes. Wow. Believe that? The deadline for the sale of TikTok has been extended. The White House has granted ByteDance a third extension to June 19th to try to work out how they're going to deal with the fact that they're completely owned and operated by China. They're wanting them to divest a certain amount of that to American interests. Let's see. I don't care about that. Okay, sea drone trials. This is interesting. Taiwan, sea drone trials have started, and they are successfully testing the Sea Shark 800 maritime drone conducted near Washi fishing port in early June, designed for surveillance and coastal defense roles. And they're looking to use it as part of Taiwan's strategy to deter the Chinese aggression towards Taiwan. That's a real political mess right there. Industry observers note rising demand for unmanned naval systems aligned with global gray zone maritime tech trend. You know, here's the thing with this. You can, like, when ships are at sea, if you have these drones, you know, they used to have to shoot a missile so close to you, and then they would that the missile would hit you. Now they could just take a drone and literally just go right up next to you under the water, and you would never even know it's there. And they could just go right up and bump up against your ship and blow up. So I mean, this is something, just like we're seeing how absolutely lethal the drones have been in the Ukraine-Russian conflict. They have been lethal on both sides. They drove, Ukraine drove a truck got a truck into Russia, drove a truck over there that had the drones on top of it, sitting on top of it. And when it got over there, they took off and went and they destroyed a bunch of bombers in an airfield. It was crazy. The tech has a lot of capabilities, not just war, of course. The capabilities for research and things like that would be great. Also used for maintenance, underwater maintenance and things like that. So there's a lot of future, I think, out there for that. The solar orbiter captured the first ever images of the sun's south pole on June 11th. The mission on the joint ESA-NASA probe launched in 2020. That's pretty cool. Polar data enhances our understanding of the solar dynamics that we live in our solar environment. It improves models forecasting space weather impacts on Earth. It helps predict solar flares and coronal mass ejections. It occurred during the International Year of Quantum Science. Provides insight into solar magnetic activity cycles. You know, there's so much that's studied out there that most people just don't even realize that it's something that is actually studied. But our space weather environment is studied quite a bit because it is so important, especially as we add satellites every day up there. If we have an incident like the Carrington event of 1859, the Kerrigan event, I'm sorry. That event, if we would have had it today, would have shut down the power through the entire United States. And it would have been out for a while. It would have shut down the internet. It would have shut down cellular. It would have shut down everything. It would have blacked us out. It has sent us back to the Stone Ages. And I want you to think about that for a minute. This only happened 150 years ago. It's not like it happened 1,000,000 years ago and the dinosaurs watched it. This actually shocked people that touched railroad tracks. It killed them. It actually powered the telegraph machines across the country without them running their generators. It was amazing. Today, the amount of energy that would be collected by our grid could not possibly be spelled off. We could shut off every power plant on the grid and still have more power than our grid can handle. And if that happens, it blows everything. It's done. Yep, ham radio. I mean, ham radio's good, but anything that's hooked up at the time of the EMP is probably going to be trash. Now, if you've got stuff buried or stuff in a ferrite box, it should be okay. But you don't want anything. Even your portables, you want to take the antenna off the portable. You don't want anything to collect energy to send inside that portable. Yes, any mechanical engine. Any vehicle that's older, about 25 years old or older, would probably start and run without any modification. Newer vehicles that are in intermediate ages could probably be made to run if people know what they're doing. Vehicles made in the last 5 or 10 years will probably be useless. They can't run without the electronics at all. Even mine, it's mine. I got an old vehicle. It's got a throttle body. It's got a computer in it, but that could be made to run like in the old days. It could be. It wouldn't run great, but it would run. Um, but you get much newer than my vehicle, and I really don't think. I mean, unless you really did it, know what you're doing, it would be hard. Um, a bug out bag content video, that would be fun. That's a good suggestion, Victor. Um, that's a really good suggestion. Um, because the things I think about in a bug out bag are probably not the things that other people think about in a bug out bag. I mean, my bug out bag, it obviously has a 9mm and five magazines in it. Obviously, it's got a basic medical kit. Um, I added the Ambu bag because I like to have the CPR bag in there. But it's a standard medical kit beyond that. And I like to I like to have something I fold up and put in there every year is the hurricane guide. We get this amazing hurricane guide from my TV station that I work at, and it's like 45 pages long, and it's got every emergency number for the 7 counties around here. It's got every map, every piece of information, every like place where you can go to get help. It's got everything, and it's all for hurricanes. But if you think about it, if there's no internet, that would suddenly be a useful resource. Um, I've collected a few things along the way, things that I've picked up, pamphlets that have a bunch of information in them and stuff like that. Information is something we take for granted now, but it's something that we don't own anymore. You used to own your information. It was on a piece of paper. It was in your drawer. You owned it. You don't own it anymore. It's on your phone. And when the phone don't work anymore, you don't have it. Therefore, you don't own it. It's just like your music. You used to own your music. You used to have your REM CD and your Led Zeppelin CD, and you owned it. Now, the music's on the cloud. You might have paid somebody to use it, but you don't really own it anymore. And so after a blackout situation where the internet goes out and or the power goes out or both, what you're going to end up with is a situation where physical paper with good information on it is going to be hard to come by. Now, I'm not saying I'm going to put a phone book. I don't even think we get phone books anymore. But I haven't seen a phone book in about 8 years. But I wouldn't put like the white pages in there or any ignorant shit like that. Chances are the phones aren't going to work either. But it's good to have the information. If your county gives out you can go by your county's emergency operations center and walk in. They're nice people. Just walk in and say, hey, do you guys have an all hazards guide? Most EOCs, most sheriff's departments will have an all hazards guide. And it's 20, 30 pages, 40 pages, like a magazine. But it's everything you ever need to know about your county. How they do things, how they handle things, where they go, where you meet, where you everything. How everything works after a disaster. And that's something you would want in that Go Kit is those kind of resources, okay? Some people put batteries in there. You can do that, but you need to switch them out every couple years. But some people like to put AA's and AAA batteries in there and keep those in there, especially if they've got a little radio or something that takes those batteries. Yeah, that's a good thing. Even if you're not a ham radio operator, if you really want to get into survival and you want to be a survivalist, you really need to get you a good 10-watt Baofeng Chinese radio for $50, and you need to go and use Chirp, and I'll help you if you need it. I've got videos that will help you right through it, and you need to download GMRS, FRS, MURS, and Marine Band, all the Marine Band. You can put all that in there. You can put all your local ham radio repeaters in there. You can put some places you can still put your police, fire, and EMS in there, if for nothing else, just to listen to. And all this can go in your little, I don't know where my radio went. Oh, here it is. Thank you. I took it to work today and I didn't put it back on the shelf. Um, all this can be programmed right into your UV25 or your UV7R or UV5R, whatever you've got. This holds 1,000 channels. Uh, I have the Marine band, the GMRS band, the FRS band. I have police, fire EMS for the 7 counties around me. I have amateur radio for the 7 counties around me. I have a whole 100 frequencies in here that are all the companies in town. I have the electric company in here. I have the water company in here. I have the school buses in here. Trust me, if there's a problem, I'm going to hear what's going on out there. Because even if I'm not going to talk on it, I still can listen. And number 2, if it's a life-threatening emergency, you can use any channel to summon help. It's legal as long as it's a life-threatening emergency. Now, with that radio, you put that radio in there. You have to pull that radio out every 6 months. You want to run it dead and charge it back up again and stick it back in the go box. Where people screw up with these radios is they put them in their go bag and they let it sit for 3 or 4 years. That's great, except that radio is worthless because the battery's gone bad 2 years ago. These batteries only last a year or 2. So when you put this in there, you want to buy a spare radio battery. You want to put the spare battery and the battery on the radio in there fully charged, okay? And then every 6 months, you pull it out, you rotate the batteries, you run them each dead, you charge them back up, you stick them back in. They'll last you probably 3 years like that. But there's an investment to keeping a good piece of good communication equipment in that bag. There is going to be an investment there that you're going to have to make. In this case, the radio is $50, spare batteries $20, and every 3 years you need to buy 2 more batteries at $25 a piece. That's really not a big deal. And as cheap as these radios are, in 3 years you'll probably just buy the new radio because it's another $50 and you can get the new one that by then is probably making coffee at this point. These radios. This radio transmits on 3 bands, VHF, UHF, 220 band. It also receives on 6 bands, including AM aircraft band, and that gives you all of that ability. You can hear the planes, you can hear the boats, you can hear the cops, the firemen, you can hear the GMRS, the FRS, you can hear the ham radio guys. You can hear it all with a $50 radio from China, and you don't need a license to buy it. You don't need a license to use it. You only need a license when you transmit on it, because that's the only thing that requires a license. Okay, and I'd be glad to help you program it. I'll show you how to do it. I've got a video to show you, but I'd be glad to help you with it. I mean, I want people to get into radio. Radio is fun. Let's see. Victor, have I considered solar panels? I think I've missed a couple of questions. I'll go back. Have I considered solar? I love solar. I don't think we're at the point where we can go solar on the grid, because solar is what caused that big power outage over in Eastern Europe, because they went too much solar and there wasn't enough capacity on the grid in order to spool it up to a sudden need that happened. And that's what caused that grid failure that failed over several states. Okay. But as far as use for me, I want solar really bad. In fact, one of the things later in my life, once I'm done producing my local show here, these shows come to an end after 5 or 10 or 15 years. When my host decides to call it quits, I'm retiring too. I plan on hitting the road in a van. I'm going to build me a big van for my wife and I, and I'm going to have a big editing bay inside and a big bed in the back, and no kitchen, no bathroom, none of that kind of stuff. Straight up van. It's all going to be wired with antennas, and it's going to have 5 solar panels on the roof. And those solar panels will provide enough wattage that I can charge my 5 deep cycle batteries during the day, and I can run my air conditioner during the day, and I can run it as needed at night without ever plugging into power. I'll be completely, off grid at that point. And that's what I'm wanting to do, is travel across the country and do it in such a fashion that I don't have to find an RV park with a plug every night for $100 so that I can plug in and do my YouTube work, my editing and everything. I'm going to be completely self-sustained. I can just stop in a parking lot somewhere and I'm there. And the solar panels will be in such a way that they can be angled up. So if I'm parking for a day or two, I'll be able to get a better angle and get some more solar up there. Yeah, I love solar for that. I think it works for that. I think solar is good on the grid in some respects, but we got to watch how much of it we're putting on the grid, because we're unable to control the need quick enough with renewable energy, whether it's solar, windmills, tidal, whatever kind of renewable energy you're using. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. What I'm saying is it provides an issue where there's no expansion capacity on the grid. That's what happens. And what happened that day in Eastern Europe was suddenly when that happened, there was no nuclear plants. There was no coal fire plant. Almost all of it. And what was left was not enough to pick up that slack. And so when the grid power suddenly dropped, like it did, they could not pick up the slack. And so what happened was it started tripping all across the system. Every system in every county and every state started going down all along Eastern Europe. Several states, several countries lost power. It even affected a third country. And it was all caused by, not because solar energy is good or bad, not because nuclear is good or bad, not because coal is good or bad. Let's leave all that discussion for another day. It happened because renewable energy does not provide you with the depth of capacity that you need to be able to regulate the proper amount of power along a large grid. And that's what happened. Yeah, they're less bright in the winter simply because you're not charging your batteries as much. That is literally comes down to that. The batteries charge all day. Power that's coming in is not enough. I also believe the solar panels don't do as well in colder temperature. I think there's a little bit of loss there as well. This is this half of the studio. In a week or so, I'm going to have it's going over here, and you'll be able to see the other half of the studio. This studio is a complete round. There's a counter that goes 365 degrees around the room, and there's 5 workstations, and you can broadcast from any of the 5 workstations. It's pretty cool. And we have the ability to, right now, we have the ability in here to broadcast 8 simultaneous streams on YouTube. And we do every now and then get up to 6 or 7, like for hurricanes. We actually have boxes that have cameras that we've mounted on them and batteries inside and air cards. And we go out after before a hurricane, and we put these up on the telephone poles down at the beach so we can capture the water coming in. You can actually see some of that on this channel. It was back during the last couple of storms we had down here, last hurricane season. And you can see this year we're going to have 3 or 4 of these units going, and we're going to be putting these up as well. I'm cutting out. Let me see here. Check. Everything looks good on this end. So if I'm cutting out, is anybody else getting me cutting out? Yeah, battery banks are good. I think every dude should have his own tactical operations center in his home. I do believe that. Here's this battery. This is what I use here. I've got several of these. We put these. These are. This one here is. It's a 1 kilowatt. I think it is. Yeah, something like that. And this one here will power one of our cameras, one of our pan tilt zoom, double pan tilt zoom camera. It's got a stationary camera and a pan tilt zoom, day night, IR lights, white lights. It powers the whole camera system, and it powers the N-Radio air card that we have up there, which connects to the cellular service. It powers both of those, and it will do it for 6 days. 6 days and nights, 24 hours a day, sending back images of the area that is not even accessible at that time because a hurricane's hitting. So that's another thing we're doing here is trying to provide unique coverage. Once again, my news station used my feed on their news about 50 times during the storm because we had the only tidal cam in Lee County that was showing the tide come up. We actually put one in front of the house I grew up in and watched the water enter the home for the 3rd time in 2 years. Went up to 19 inches. The first time it went in, it went up to 4 feet, went right up to the light switches on the walls. And my mother was home. She's 80 years old. They issued the evacuation orders really late, and the storm took a last-minute turn, and my 80-year-old mother and my nephew rode it out in a boarded-up home with water rising up past the light switches inside the house. She was up on top of the entertainment center, which is where she sat and rode out the storm with her feet in the water. So you can imagine the scary night. And by the way, the power's out. The wind's howling outside. She was there. Yeah, she was at the house. And, yep, she was there. Yep. So anyway, yep, all is there. And then after that storm, we get the house all put back together. We're almost done. We've got all the boarding done, all the paintings done, all the trims put back up. Everything's done. 2 more storms. Both storms put 19 inches of water back in the house again. And the house is still over there, not finished yet. So you can't be surprised by a hurricane. That's true. And I'll tell you something else. Everybody's always like, how can you live in Florida? Oh my God, you got your house was flooded 3 times in 2 years. That's just not natural. How could you possibly live in Florida? That's true. However, this house has sat there since 1969, and this is the only time water has ever been even close to going in the house. We've been a very long time here without a storm. We had Hurricane Donna in 1960. The next direct hit my county took was Irma in what was Irma? Christ, I don't know, 16, I think 16. So we literally went 50 plus years in this county without a direct hit. So when you average it out, you get a really bad storm about every 20 years. That's kind of the average. But see, we went like 50 years without one, so boom, we get 3 in a row. It's kind of the way the law averages works, you know. It is what it is. All right. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Please throw a subscribe on there. I do appreciate that. And thanks again to our super chatters tonight. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It all helps. You know, this studio has been completely built with our own side money that we've made here on YouTube, or money that we have made on the side, or money that I've scraped off of my income, has built this entire thing. And there's 4 of us that have chipped into the studio, and it's come a long way. I mean, we're up to 8 computers. We've got it to the point now where we can really provide some neat stuff, and we're getting to the point where we're doing it now. So I'm really happy with where we're at. Ian was the worst storm. That was the one that gave us 4 feet. And then after that, what was it? Helene and Gordon or something like that. I don't know, the other 2. A robot dog for live streaming. That would be awesome. All right, I'm going to run up the chat here. Yeah, there you go. I don't know why I was cutting out. I have gotten no warnings from YouTube that my stream, the moment my stream falls below levels, I get a warning from YouTube. That's another thing that happened here. We were on Comcast, which has never once been Comtastic. Okay, I just want to put that out there. Comcast probably the worst customer service in the entire utility business. Definitely, maybe the worst customer service in the history of mankind. Okay, and finally, my wife and I, we both called them together because we both wanted to make the call, so we agreed to do it together. So we took turns telling them to F off. When we finally got our fiber optic, oh my God, they ran fiber into here. They ran glass right up to that box, right up above those two screens you see behind me. There's a white box up there, and a little thin ass wire. It's not a wire, it's a piece of glass. This little piece of glass goes right in there, okay? And using invisible light, all the information is now transferred through that piece of glass, okay? And you know what's really cool about that? A bunch of things. Number one, it's not subjected to radio interference. Number two, lightning can't be transmitted through it and blow up more stuff because it's connected. Anything connected with glass cannot transmit lightning. That's really cool. But the neatest thing about it, it's 10 times faster upload and 100 times faster download. I'm not shitting you. I got 1 gig up and 1 gig down. And you want to hear the kicker? All I got to do is call them and pay them 25 more bucks. They'll give me 7 gigs up and 7 gigs down. The equipment's already here. I can't use half of what I have now. I've had all 8 computers broadcasting at one time just to see if it would do it. We came in with a laptop plugged into the system that was being taxed at 100%. Okay, we were running everything we had at 100%. I was running composite videos. I was running FT8. I was running the 7.2 radio back here. We had the frog cam going. We had everything was running. Everything was in high def, 3K. It was high def as we can get it. I brought a laptop in here and plugged it in and did a speed test. It still showed 1 gig up and 1 gig down. No matter how hard I run it, it still shows. It's all still there. So, I got to tell you, fiber optic, if you're ever offered fiber optic, it's probably one, going to be cheaper than what you have now. And number two, they'll run it in for free. And number three, it doesn't take that long to get it set up. And number four, it won't transmit lightning into your house. And number five, it's 1,000,000 times faster than what you're used to now. It's just so amazing. And so I could do an ad for the fiber optic. I'm not saying their name because I don't want you guys to think this is an ad. I'm purposely not saying their name because it's not an ad. Fiber's great, no matter who's bringing it to you. It's just so light years ahead of everything in technology out there. I just absolutely love fiber. Victor, you can download a movie as fast as the company will send it to you. If you downloaded the movie at your full capability, you could download the movie in 3 or 4 seconds. But generally speaking, your computer nor their computer is going to be that fast. My internet's faster than the computer on either end, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Yes, Flight Radar 24. I get the silver plan, which allows it to stay up all the time, and I can do the multi-tracker and all that. And it also has the 3D view. Yes, Flight Radar 24. Great service. Let's see what else we got here. I've had fiber when I was gaming way fast. Yeah, you'll never bottom it out. I'll tell you that. If you're bottoming it out, something's wrong. Are they going to bomb Iran? Oh, look, the president's in my chat room. That's awesome. I'm glad you're here. I don't do a very good Trump. I've been kind of working on it, but I'm not that good at it. I got the arm thing down, but I haven't got the voice going yet. All right, so anyway, you know what? I think I'm going to tell you guys, I think they might bomb Iran. I don't know. Do you guys remember the song? Bomb, 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 Iran. You remember that? That was a thing like back in the late 80s when the whole fuel crisis thing was going on. Anyway, or early 80s. Anyway, the point is I think they're going to bomb Iran because Donald Trump issued an order tonight that everybody needs to get out of Tehran. And he generally doesn't bluff. Like him or hate him, not saying anything. Like him or hate him, he doesn't bluff. As Mr. Spock said, Vulcans never bluff. And I think it's true. I don't think Trump bluffs. So I think it was a last-ditch effort to get these guys to come up and say, you know what? Let's stop this before it gets out of control. Okay? But I also don't think Iran's going to do that. Iran and those deeply Muslim, devout populations of people. Let me just put it that way. Your mullahs and your all the different ones over there. They've all been enabled by Iran. Iran is kind of one of the kingpins over there that has got Hamas and all these other terror organizations. They're the ones that sponsor a lot of the terror over there, unfortunately, and they've been asking for this, and it's been going tit for tat. And regardless of what side you're on, this is escalating, and it's escalating. It's going to be a problem. I do think something big's probably going to happen tonight. I'm not going to stay online all night to find out. I've been on for coming up on 2 hours. I'm going to let it go soon, but we are watching for it. And about every 10 minutes or so, I do come over here and check several of the headlines. I also have a news channel up over here that I can see out of the corner of my eye. Whew, yeah, see, here we go. Let's see. One of the news agencies here is reporting that they're all eyes are on Whitman Air Force Base. That's where our B-2 stealth bombers are, and that's where our 30,000-pound Moabs, mother of all bomb bunker busters, are. Iran fired some missiles into Tel Aviv and Jerusalem earlier today, and they were given a final ultimatum by President Trump and by Netanyahu that if the hostilities did not end immediately, that there would be a problem. And then they were told they better go ahead and evacuate Tehran, and I think that's going to be. I don't think that's an idle threat. I don't know. We're going to have to see. Look, these people play 3D chess, and we don't even know what the we don't even know what the pawns on the table are. You know, it's almost like playing chess, but you can't see the other person's pieces, and you can't see half of your own pieces either. We really don't know anything that's going on in Iran. We only know half of what's going on in Jerusalem, and because of our government's non-transparency here, we hardly know half of what's going on here. So when you really think about it, we don't know shit. So I try not to form strong opinions right off the bat because I have no idea what's going on. Yeah, I'm not sure. We're going to have to wait and see. Okay, Jay. Went back in time for that one. I love it. Miss anything else here? All right, well, I've gone through the news. I've done everything else. I've been looking at the live views. I'm going to check a look again for those. I'm checking through the news real quick. Does anybody have anything they'd like to ask or talk about? Put it in there. If you put it in earlier and I missed it, I apologize. If you put at StarShip Adventures, it makes it turn orange on my screen. And, if you put in my channel name, and then I see for sure that you're talking to me. And yes, Victor, you're welcome. I'm happy to live stream. I love doing it. I love YouTube, and I love what I do here. I'm not always happy with everything they do, but YouTube's kind of like a family member, you know? You kind of forgive them for the shit they do because they're still a good family member. Yes, I'm going to be live. I'm going to do this every night for a while. I'm going to see how it goes. If you guys like this and I can gather a big audience this way, and I can build up numbers and people want to watch this, I'll do it. The problem is I was wandering in obscurity. It was mostly ham radio guys that found out about me, and when I would go live, like tonight, when there was nothing going on, I'd get like 4 people in here, and I'd have a little chat room with myself. If I'm getting hundreds of people in here like I am tonight, we've already had 2,300 people come in here tonight. There's 113 in there right now. So if I get numbers like this every night, guys, I'm going to do it every night. I love doing this. I want to do this. But like anybody else, I don't want to spin my wheels just for 3 or 4 people. I want to make sure that that all the effort pays off. That's all. So that's good. Thank you, KJ. I appreciate that. It's a wasteland. Yeah, but that's mostly not YouTube's fault. I get a little pissy with their copyright, and the way they do that is a little ridiculous. And I also get grumpy with them the way they do some things. But the truth is, it's my platform. I'm on the biggest broadcast platform in the world. I'm broadcasting worldwide. Some guy in South Korea is watching me right now. And to me, that's important. My ham videos, I've been dubbing those in 7, 8, 9 different languages. People have been watching my ham radio videos in different countries. I think that's amazing, and I want that to grow too. I want people to find use in what I put out. And if I'm putting out stuff people want, I'm going to keep doing it. Thanks, Eternal. I appreciate that. I appreciate that, KJ. I do. Trolls don't bother me. I don't care. I'm fat, I'm old, and I'm losing my hair. What else are you going to call me? I really don't care, to be honest. YouTube has the farthest reach of any broadcast platform has ever had in the history of this planet. There's just never been anything like YouTube, and I feel like I'm a part of it. I really do. I like being a YouTube content provider. I think they provide me with an amazing opportunity on here. They really do. I got a 15-year-old boy, 24 disabled boy, 3 dogs, and me, and a cabin in the woods. Well, there you go. You know what? I have a cabin in the woods too, and you guys will see it. If you go back in my videos, you will see it because I broadcast from up there too. They've got fiber right at the bottom of my street up there. So literally, like in a few years, when my show's done here, yeah, all you're going to see is my asshole and my elbows because I'm going to Georgia. I'm going to live up there. I love Florida. Don't get me wrong. I absolutely love Florida. But I also love Georgia. I have a love for Georgia, too. It's a great state. I'm up in the mountains right on the North Carolina line, right where the Smoky and the Blue Ridge Mountains technically come together. I'm right there, and I absolutely love it up there. It's just the energy is just amazing. It's absolutely beautiful, and it's just an amazing place to go and live and spend the rest of my life. I tell people I live in Florida, but I'm dying in Georgia. I literally tell people that because I plan to move up there full time. My wife owns this house and I own that house, so technically we own 2 houses, and it works out good. So I don't have a studio up there. But what I will do when I move up there is I will place another 14 by 14 building like I did here. And just build it out like I did this one. I'll put me a little studio inside the house until I can get it built, just like I did here. Yeah, I would, if I could, I would live so far out in the middle of the woods, nobody'd ever find me. However, the caveat is I still want to be connected to commercial power and I still want to have fiber optic internet. I want to be on grid, off grid, if you know what I mean. I'm like stuck there. I want to be so off grid and away from everybody, but yet I won't move further than that glass will run. Your in-laws are in Blue Ridge. I bet they love it. Are they in the town of Blue Ridge? Because literally that's the next town over from Blairsville where I'm at. I love Blue Ridge. That's a beautiful little town if that's where they're at. I love Blue Ridge. It's right between Ellijay and Blairsville. I love that area up there. Things are different up there. If you want to build your own house, you can literally file your own plans and build your own house. You don't need a contractor. I mean, as long as the perk test is good and you've got sewer and you can get water, they'll let you build a house. They're not up your ass like they are down here. Our code enforcement down here, especially in the cities. Now I live in the county, but in the cities like Cape Coral and Fort Myers, especially Cape Coral, they literally got the Nazi handbook over there. They've got sprinkler patrols out at night. They have multiple vehicles that drive up and down every single road at night, and they write tickets for $50 to everybody who has a sprinkler running on the wrong night. I am not lying. Florida's pretty good about not being over-regulated and not being over this and over that. But some of the cities down here are really bad about over-regulating. And Cape Coral's a prime example of that. There is not a single chopper in the LA area that I can see. What's this one here? There's one way down here. Oh, that's the other sheriff's chopper. Okay, so the one went in and the other's coming out. What is this one off the coast? Is that Coast Guard? It's a Sikorsky MH-60. That Jayhawk, that's a big chopper. Military or government. That's probably a military asset. Where did he come from? Yeah, there he came from here. He came from a military base, and he's down here. He flew a route down here, and now he's coming up along the coast. Wonder what he's doing. Probably just training. We'll leave it on this guy. This is one of the sheriff's choppers. It's come out now. Okay, so that's what's going on there, and let's check on our radar. The other radar, not that radar. And we've got two spinnies here, so let's get rid of those. Move that over. And we got more power outages being reported. Cowley County now reporting 512 people without electricity. And right here, we just had a really heavy storm go through. And look at the gust front out in front of this thing. We're seeing probably some really strong straight line winds here. Let me shut this off here. You guys see this? Usually when you see this, you see this like gust front thing out in front of the storm there. Normally that means that there is some very strong winds pushing along here, and it's straight line winds. And when the winds get to your house, they're going to blow from one direction, and you're going to get 3, 4, 5 really good gusts, and then it's going to start letting up. But that's normally what you get. Now this is a little hook feature here that we're going to look at. Let's take a peek. Let's take a look at what this looks like under the high-res velocity. And yeah, I don't see a couplet. What we basically have here is, this is a bow echo, is what they call this. And your winds are causing it to bow out like that. And the people that this goes over, if you're under this line, this bow line, when it comes through, there will be some very strong wind gusts associated with this. But I do not see a tornado. This is important, and I'm going to show you why this is important. I don't know if you guys realize it or not, but we're right slap in the middle of Tornado Alley. See where we're at? We're just southeast of Wichita, Kansas. So if they get a tornado here, it could be long track. It could be bad. And you can see the brown outline here on the radar. That's an area of increased concern tonight, and it includes the Tulsa Metro. It is north of Oklahoma City. So, there's something to watch here. Okay, let me check the chat room. Oh, there's been a bunch. Let me read. Starlink, I've heard good things. I've never used it. We're talking about building a camera rig that will have a Starlink system built into the top of it. It'll be like a box. And we're actually looking to have a box that we can put somewhere and secure it, like on the second floor of a house or something, and secure the box to where the Starlink will be on top of it. We're working on that right now. We're working on a way to have Starlink at 150 mile an hour winds, and have the two work together. And yeah, right now we're able to protect all of our equipment inside a box, but that only gets me cell service out about 20 miles. That's it. I can't get any further than that. We're looking at these new boxes that will allow us to put two different cell phone service chips down in there. The SIM cards. It actually, this box takes two SIM cards, and it has 3 antenna connectors, one for service A, one for service B, and one for Wi-Fi. And you can actually drill holes and put high gain antennas on the outside of the box and wire them directly in and have them working on 2 separate antennas, on going to 2 separate cell phone services. So hopefully when the cell phones go down after a storm, during a storm, hopefully we can stay up, because our signal will be able to talk to cell phone towers that are further away, and they'll be able to talk to, they'll be able to not only get more reach, but we'll have 2 different services. So if one goes completely down, the other one may still be able to operate. So kind of a big deal. We're really looking forward to testing some more of this out this year. The testing we did last year with it went really well, and our goal in the future is to go to an area where a storm's going to hit and pull in there a day and a half before the storm and drive down the beach and stop, get the ladder off the top, put it up on a telephone pole, go up 12 feet on the telephone pole. We've got the box goes right up against the pole. I bought those brackets that hold M cylinders in the back of trucks, that hold big pressure cylinders. I bought those, and they've got a big strap. This thing goes right on the telephone pole. The strap goes around the back, and you pull it tight, bring it around, and tie it off. You bring the bottom one around, pull it tight, tie it off, and it's strapped to the telephone pole. It doesn't hook up to nothing. It's completely autonomous. It sits up there, and it sends back radio signals back to us. That's all it does. It's amazing. And it runs for 5 days on the battery, 5 days and 5 nights. And that includes using the lights at night. So it's an amazing piece of equipment. And we built one of these for last year, and now we've got 2 more mostly built. We're down to just the radio boxes in them, and we're gonna hopefully have 3 or 4 of these rigs up for hurricane season this year. But we can use them for other things too. We can use them to cover a parade. I could use them to cover a regatta. I could use them to cover protests. I could use them for anything. I just bring them there ahead of time, strap them on the pole, and drive away. Now, none of us are in harm's way. The whole box costs $400. If we lose it, it's not the end of the world. And it'll provide live images, and the one camera is stationary, and the other one spins 360 degrees, zooms in and out, and it's amazing, really. It's amazing what we're doing with it. And the reason we want the one that has the stationary and the one that has the one on the bottom, the stationary camera, the stationary camera will always be in the same spot. That means that stream can then be turned into a time lapse. The bottom one moves around, so we're going to be able to watch different things and provide different camera views. So it's going to be like killing 2 birds with 1 stone. We're going to have our stationary camera, and we're going to have our roving camera, and we're going to have the benefits of both. And we can switch back and forth. I can switch to the one, take that. While I'm taking that, I can swing the other one around and get the shot ready, go boom, go back and take that. It's great for producing. It's great for all that kind of stuff. And that's one of the things we're wanting to do this year. Like I said, we've already done it. We're going to be doing more of it this year. It's going to be great. I think Makalaka, I love the name. I think it's going to be great. I think it's awesome. I really haven't had much problems with my Starlink. It's really good for living in the woods. Yeah, I bet. Oh my God, it's got to be better than Sailor, because Sailor gets flaky. You don't have to go that far in the woods to get away from Sailor. Um, I'll look that up, Brian. I'm an antenna freak, and I haven't heard of that one. So guess what? Guess what's going on my notes for tonight? Let me put that on my notes. I actually keep notes because I'm a nerd that way. There we go. I'm going to look at that antenna later. Let's see. Dual SIM card, phone, or hotspot. Yeah, these are actually a flat pack that go in the box, and it does everything. And you remote into it. You do it all through a remote connection, which is really nice. And it monitors everything. It tells you how it's doing remotely, and we have remote control of it. And we have remote control of the camera, too. So it's really nice because literally this thing goes up on there. We leave it up for 5 days. We can leave it up for 20 days and come back and get it. We've even had stickers made that says scientific research equipment. Please do not disturb. If there's a problem, call. And we have Joseph and I's phone numbers and email addresses on there. We did that so that hopefully people won't disturb it. Yeah. Let me go back up here. I hope I didn't miss something. Yeah, the J hook is where the tornado is normally on the velocity. You're looking for the couplet on the regular radar, or the reflective radar. Yeah, that's what you're looking for is a J hook. You're looking for an upside down hook in the storm like that, and that's normally right at the crux of that J hook, right where the clear spot in that J hook ends. Right there's your tornado. It's sitting right there. Um, Let me see here. Starlink is expensive, not super expensive, and it's coming down. Give it time. Give it a year. It'll be a $60, $70 thing. You'll be able to afford it. I'm not sure what it is now. I was told just the other day that it's dropping, that it's getting a lot cheaper to get into, and the next generation of equipment is a lot cheaper to buy. So it's going to come down quick. Now that everybody's getting into it, the price will drop like a rock. It's always expensive to be the first man with a toy, but this has been around a little while now, and they're wanting more people to get involved with it. The prices are dropping pretty quick. Um, there you go, $400 for the whole Starlink setup. And then you're down to your monthly fee, and I think that's somewhere between 100 and 200, I think, but I'm not sure. Um, Cost of service, which I have roaming, which is 165 a month. So, and what that person, I'm sorry, I didn't mean she, what Michael means by 165 a month roaming, what that means is you pay a little more if you want to be able to drive around the country with it. If you're going to use it in one place all the time, you can actually save a little bit of money. I think that's what that means. And you own the hardware, you buy all the hardware. I actually prefer that. And that way I can control what hardware I'm using. Your cable company used to be famous for putting a piece of crap in your house and letting it sit there for 5 years. It's the oldest technology ever, but they'll let it sit in your house and collect dust literally until it dies. And then you'll get this new thing. Oh my God, look what the new. It's like they could have gave me this 4 years ago, but they're not going to give you anything until the old one breaks. Um, what was the brand of the cameras you were on about? Oh crap! Give me just a second. It's they're all Chinese cameras, and the one I'm going to put in the link for the one that I use that we're using for this project, because it's the best one. It's even got an alarm feature, and that you can. It's even got like a red and blue flashing light on top. It's really cool. I'm going to pull it up real quick. It's like $50. Um, I'm going to go into my previous auctions or my previous sales on Amazon. It just take me a second here to go back because we bought this a year ago. So just give me a second. And these cameras come in 1, 2, and 3 cameras. And the 3-camera one's kind of nice, but it doesn't work the best. The 2-camera one is perfect. And here, I'm gonna put the link in for this. I think I can just put this link in, and you guys let me know if this works. I don't think I've done an Amazon link in here yet. Let me know if, let me see, if I click on that, will it take it to me? Yeah, it took me there. There you go. That's the one I bought. It is currently not available because I bought this one a year ago. So what you need to do is, I'm going to copy the whole description and just stick it in here and see if somebody's selling the same one with the same description. Let's see here. Yeah, 35 bucks. That one doesn't have the warning light on top, which I really don't care about. There's one with the warning light, $28. Yeah, they're all here. Just copy, when you go to that link I put in, copy the description of that camera and then put that in the search box and hit enter, and it will bring up about 10 different cameras that are all that same style. Now, the way these work, they all come with a program where you can pay them to store your video. Okay, and I don't do any of that. I don't ever do that. What I do is I buy the camera and I stick it up. You can put a chip in it and then set it to record on motion and stuff like that. So it'll work like a regular security camera with a chip in it, and you don't have to pay anybody anything. So for $35, they deliver it in 2 days. You got 2 cameras. The camera has regular light and infrared light. It's all selectable inside the app. You can turn on the blinking warning lights. You can turn on the night lights. You can turn on the the normal lights like the white ones. You can move that bottom camera. You can zoom. It's got an optical zoom in and out. It's amazing. This one here, instead of an optical zoom, what it has is 2 cameras. One that zooms way in and one that doesn't. So that way, if you need to zoom in, you've got a camera that zooms way in. You see what I mean? It switches to the other camera. It's pretty cool how it works. And you can literally get tags and stuff off of it. It's pretty neat. But that's kind of that you can see with that link. That's what we're using. Yeah, I'll do that. Let me put her channel in there. My wife is on a membership drive, guys. We're trying to get her over 1,000. She's at 949. And I'm really trying to get her over 1,000 so we can move her into the next chapter of her YouTubing here. Let's see here. Yeah, she has one. My wife, her channel, she's got a wildlife camera on there. And you can go over there right now and look. There's frogs that are this big in there. They're literally huge toads that are like, they're like a Buick, and they come up every night. We don't know where they come from, and we put out bowls and stuff for them to sit in. They like sitting in the water, and so we put out bowls for them to sit in, a little bit of cat food, and they come from everywhere. And what's funny is the cats will walk right up and stand right over the top of them and eat the cat food, and the frogs they don't care. The frogs and the cats get along 100%. Never had a problem. The cats do not mess with the frogs, and the frogs don't mess with the cats. And you can see our 10 cats on there, and you can see the frogs on there. It's pretty cool. And she also does adventure stuff. She takes her phone everywhere. Some days it's a big adventure in a cave in North Carolina, and the next day she's at the Dollar Tree or something. It's like you never know where her adventure is going to take you. So it's a neat little channel, and we're really trying to get her going. Well, thanks, BJS. I appreciate that. I'm trying. We just got a boost here, and we're going to try to. I'm going to try to do this every night. Pretty much, not every night, but most nights. I'll try to come on. Set your notification bells if you guys want. I know it can get annoying. I've got a few of them set for people that I do watch on the regular, but I know it can be a little bit annoying. All right, let's see. Checking that radar screen again. I still don't see a whole. You know, it sucks because once it gets dark, the storm chasers they still keep chasing, but it's like eh. And I'm starting to become very suspicious of that Israel cam because I think we should have dawn there by now. The sun's already up in Israel, so I'm thinking that that's bullcrap. I'm dealing with these live spoof videos. It just sucks. Yeah, my wife's fun. She does a good job, and my best friend Scuffed Radio, Joseph. He's got a great little channel. If you're in the ham radio, he does mostly all ham radio stuff. But he's got a great channel, and my grandson's got a great channel too. Simplex Radio. He's just starting out. He's learned how to do everything now, and he puts up streams and different things, and he's having a good time learning how to do it. And so it's a lot. It's YouTube is there's a learning curve. You know, all the different software and how to get it all to work together, and how to get your social media to work. You know, I'll be honest. I use things like Opus Clip. Opus Clip is great. OPUS, I think it is. OPUS, I think. Hold on, I'll get the link. I actually pay these people. I like Opus Clip because what it does, I take my video, like I'll do a 20-minute video about a ham radio, and I'll take that video and I'll drop it into Opus Clip. And Opus Clip will use artificial intelligence to go through and find all of the good shorts in that video. It'll give me as many as I want. It'll give me like 100 or 50 or 10, whatever I set it for. And it sets them up and it gives them to me in order of what it thinks is the best clips. First, I go in there, it gives me the clip, and it puts my face on the top and what I'm talking about on the bottom. It'll automatically put in AI generated video if I want. It'll do AI generated captions. It puts the AI words for what I'm saying, you know, the little bouncy words on there. It allows me to drop in music. It allows me to drop in pictures, overlays, logos, other videos. I can do just about anything I want to do with it. And then when I'm ready, I hit go, and it brings up a screen, and it shows me what my post is going to look like on Twitter and Twitch and on LinkedIn and Facebook and X. And I just make sure that the caption that it wrote for me is good. Sometimes I change it. A lot of times I change the title because I'm like, I could come up with a better title. But the description is usually good. And I take that, I put it in there. I correct it the way I want it, and I hit go, and or I schedule, and it sends it out to every single one of mine all at the same time, and it's done. So I'm putting shorts out on 6 platforms, and it's taken me about 3 minutes per short. So you can do a couple of them a day. You can schedule them out. Sometimes I schedule them out a week in advance. I'll do one a day for a week. And I'll do a whole week where I'm doing all ones on a certain topic or whatever. And it's a great way to get your content out there. And I've been using that now for months. Brian, I'm not sure. I know that YouTube itself has a section called YouTube Creators. And I've watched videos there. Now, I don't know how you get to that because I get to it through my control room, through my, what do they call it? My studio on YouTube. I don't know. I'm sure you can probably get to it through your studio. But right there on the front page of your studio, it will say, mine's I think's over on the right or whatever, and it'll talk about all the different things like that. And one of them is Creator Studio, and it will show you all the different videos you can watch on how to create things on YouTube. And a lot of those are very helpful. Sometimes I like to beat my head against the wall for 2 hours, and sometimes I just buck up and go watch how someone else did it, and it's a lot easier. but yeah, that's how I do it. That and just literally Google or YouTube search for what you want to do exactly, and find a video for someone that's doing exactly what you want to do. That's the best thing. Yeah, and those videos are not only provided by YouTube up there, but those people run their videos by YouTube. So YouTube's cool with those. I mean, that's actually the way it works. Um, the D-Day plane is reportedly up with Trump on board. I'm not sure about that now. Come on. I think he's getting a snooze. Actually, Trump's still awake. He sleeps about 3 hours a night, that guy. Um, I'll tell you, the thing about YouTube is you need a niche. You can't just be the YouTube channel about everything. I still do more. I do more on my channel than is recommended. It's recommended like you do nothing but ham radio, or you do nothing but multi-streaming broadcasting, journalistic broadcasting like I'm doing now. You do nothing but like 2-hour shows every night about technology, and that's it. I don't agree with that, but I also do believe that you do need to have niches, that you do need to have a parking space to park your car in, basically. You don't want to just be all over the place. You don't want to do a show today about arts and crafts, a show tomorrow where you're walking through Publix or a supermarket, a show the next day where you're flying in a plane, a show the next day where you're talking about ham radio, a show the next day where you're doing... You can really like do too many things, and you'll never find people that are really into you. And so I've tried to narrow my stuff down, and I've come up with basically live coverage of events and ham radio, and that's where I'm at. And then I loop into that science, space weather, terrestrial weather, because I cover a lot of terrestrial weather, and I roll it all together into a channel. And it's a little haphazard, I'll admit, but I think it's a good mix. And even if you're not in the ham radio, I will not dwell for hours on ham radio unless it's a ham radio video. And I'm very clear at the beginning if it's a ham radio video. Let's see here. Are you monitoring the military? No, I am not. I can't monitor anything while I'm on here. But yeah, I haven't done that a lot. I guess I could start trying to monitor that. I certainly have several receivers that would pick up 11 megahertz. Oh, that's cool. You know, I'm going to tell you something. The hardest thing you'll do is come up with your channel name and like your tagline and your logo. Those things are difficult because you want it to be perfect, and you don't want to launch your channel until everything's perfect. This used to be called the Southwest Florida TechNet, and I changed it after a couple years because it was just ham radio. It was deeply technical, and I wasn't getting any numbers. I was getting 25, 30 people on, and that was it. And I'm like, I have to expand this out some more. I'm going to start doing coverage. I'm going to start doing weather. I'm going to start doing other things. And that's helped me. That spreading it out has helped quite a bit, I think, anyway, in my success, because I'm finding more people out there, not just ham radio folks. And I think it's really good. Let's see. Anyone know a resource to find out what live military information? I'm not familiar with any, to be honest with you. I've heard of that one you put in there, but I've never really done much with it. But I'm going to copy that to my notes because I'm going to check that out later too. I have to keep notes, guys, because I can't remember after a broadcast. You guys will tell me a lot of neat things. Just like I tell you a lot of neat things tonight, you might write something down. Same thing with me. I have to write it down or I won't remember it. Yes, please like and subscribe. I really appreciate that. It really helps. And I'm always forthcoming with anything, any kind of resources that I have links to, I'll give to you. I don't keep any secrets like that. A lot of people are like, I don't want to tell people how I do things because then they'll copy what I do and they'll take me off the air. Not if you're good. That's what I tell them. If you suck, yeah, maybe you better not tell everybody what you're doing. What Iran's promised a response. I believe Israel's promised a response, and we've promised some kind of response too. So there's going to be all kinds of responding. So we'll see how the response goes. Sorry, I'm tired. I'm giddy. All right, there we go. Yeah, military traffic is not going to be trackable, unfortunately. When you talk about aircraft, the 1090 transponders that we track, and also the same transponder that's tracked by Flight Radar 24, it's not real radar. What it is, each plane has a transponder in it, and that transponder broadcasts on a specific frequency. I can even tell you what it is. It's 1090 megahertz. It transmits on that frequency. You hear bloop, and each plane sends that out. Bloop, 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 bloop. You'll hear them all out there bleeping. And when the computer hears that, it puts the map, and it puts the plane on the map because that signal that comes from the plane has data embedded in it. And the data it has is latitude, longitude, airspeed, altitude, route, aircraft tail number, squawk number. It has all this information that is fed into it from that little noise that it makes. And that is then painted on the map so that we can see all the planes on the map that we see on the aircraft tracker there. Actually, we don't see anything right now on the aircraft tracker, but normally anyway. Let's see. There is one chopper on there. But you can see here, if I take the aircraft tracker and I go over here, look at this. This is LAX. Once a plane starts up and begins to run, and it's running on its primary power or on the APU or anything, anytime it's powered, the plane sends out I think it's IDF or whatever it is. It sends out the transponder, and so all these planes are in some state of idle. They're running right now because their transponders are actually transponding. And so you can see them moving around, the big planes moving around there, the little ones. And the neat thing about Flight Tracker, Flight Radar 24, is you can click on it, and it shows you the plane. It tells you everything about it. This plane here, it looks like it's getting ready to take off. This plane's going to Shenzhen, and it is taking off from Los Angeles. It's a Boeing 777-39L, and its registration is Bravo 2006. It is registered out of China, serial number 44931. It's a passenger aircraft, currently 10 years old, and its current ground speed is 17 miles an hour as it taxis. You can tell all that just from having Flight Radar. There's his schedule. He's scheduled to take off at 2020, and he's gonna, actually, he just landed here. He came from there. He's landing here. But every bit of information you need's there. This even shows you where he's at in the flight down here. Really, really cool information. And then when you hover over them, it'll show you their little logo and everything. It's pretty cool. You can do a lot of stuff with this flight program. It's amazing. If you're tracking commercial airlines, which I normally don't do, so I don't have this on, but I can actually come down here and I can turn on where's it at? Logo. I can hit this, and then when I zoom in, it will actually show me it should show me. I don't know if it's going to do it here or not. Oh, yeah, it's doing it. I forgot I have to put on the backgrounds. There we go. Look, it shows me all the logos. You can see those are all American Airline. Those are all American Airline. JetBlue. So you can see what parts of the terminal. There's Air Alaska that's there at the Jetway. and southwest on this side, and delta. Isn't that pretty cool? I love technology, man. Look at this. It even tracks the little vehicles out on the runway. Uh, you know why the little vehicles on the runway are tracked? Because they're on the runway. Because this actually, the reason for this radar is not so that we can sit around in our ham shacks and our studios and watch the planes. The purpose of this radar is it's actually a collision avoidance system. The plane actually knows if there's another plane that's going to intersect with it in the future based on the information that both your plane has and that other plane is sending out. It's pretty cool. I'm wondering, that protest, it's twilight right now, and that's what it should be in LA. So I'm wondering if that's not a live protest. It's an upright shot, so there's not much else I can do with the... I can widen it just a little bit. But I think that that's probably a... that might be a real deal there. That's the only one I still see that's live out there. But anyway, so that's Flight Radar 24. What a great resource that is. There's all your planes around the area. It's hard to believe how much air traffic there is up at any given time. Kind of amazing. Let's go back and let me check that radar. We got another spinner here. Now we're down to two storm chaser, or one storm chaser and one cam. Well, there's another guy. The problem is there's just not a lot to see at night when you're storm chasing, unfortunately. I love storm chasing, and I hate to give it up. But at some point, you just got to give it up because you really don't see much at night. We did see one night, though. The lightning kept lighting it up, and every time you could see this freaking wedge tornado. It was like, oh, my God. It was like 3 storm chasers had this thing. It was amazing. And I'm convinced that Jerusalem cam is no good. But I'm going to be signing off here in a few minutes, so I'm not going to worry about it. Real quick before we go, let me just go down through here again. Let's see here. An I-5, I'm not sure. I'm not sure because I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not one of these guys that's memorized all the computer part numbers. And I'm not new to it, but I don't do it enough to know much about it. So here's what I'm going to tell you. What I'm using right now is a Ryzen 9 12-core processor. I'm using it in a really good gaming board, and I'm using it with a butthole load of memory and a solid-state disk drive, and a huge video card with 5 ports on the back. And that's it. Another free ad for Granger. Let's see here. But yeah, I'm using a Ryzen, or however you pronounce it, an i9, the Ryzen 9, and it's a 12-core processor. Running Springs, California. There you go. California, man, you guys are in the news a lot lately. I covered the wildfires here. You can actually go back and look on my channel under lives. I actually covered the wildfires. We did a lot of scanner traffic and live views and aircraft trackers and all that. We did a lot of coverage of the wildfires in LA. Let's see here. I'm going to be doing a documentary about the shack, actually. everything's in place. The last 2 TVs are up on the mounts now. I got a 65 in the back that's up there that we put whatever on the radar, the flight tracker. I've got a ham clock thing that goes up there that has all the current astronomical data and everything on it. I put that up when there's nothing else going on. And then I got TVs and monitors. There's a total of, I think, 29 or 30 TVs and monitors in here in total. And I have one computer that does nothing but send 4 audio feeds to Broadcastify. I have another computer that does nothing but run the repeater system for the Freedom Network up there in the corner. There's another computer back here that is a gaming computer that we've built, and it's now our backup broadcast computer, Broadcast 2. And then I've got 2 more computers over here. Those are Ryzen 5s that are HP thin client, those little mini desktops. I've been buying those for $95. They come with Windows 10, which I strip out and put a new version of Windows 10 in, a Pro version. And then that comes with a mouse and a keyboard and the computer for $95. And I've been buying these now. I've got, I think, 5 or 6 of them. I'm using them for everything. The frog cam's on one of those. My wife is on one of those. The yellow cam is on one of those. The gray cam's on one of those. The blue cam, the green cam, everything. All my systems are those new thin clients. I think I've got 6 of them now. And a friend of mine, Rick, just bought 2 of them. He loves them. He took both of his and immediately converted them over to Linux, to Linux. And he's running a certain version of Linux on them, and they're great. So if you're going to do something like what I'm doing right now, you're going to need a Ryzen 9 gaming computer. You're going to need something that's designed to be a gaming computer because it has to have really high bus rates on the board. It has to have a really good cooling system. I've got a huge radiator about this big that mounts on my board, and it's got its own fan that goes just on that. And then the box that it's sitting in has 7 fans all the way around it, half blowing in, half sucking out. And it's a big, huge gaming computer back there. And eventually, I'm going to be switching out 2 or 3 of these other smaller computers. They will be moved to secondary tasks, and I'll be replacing them with more of these supercomputers. I'm building these $4,000 gaming systems. This one we built for $1,000. That one, I got parts out of the garbage. I had stuff given to me. I've built that for $200, and it's an amazing system. So if you watch out, if you watch your Habitats for Humanities, your Goodwills, watch for used stuff hanging around. If you know what you're looking for, especially when it comes to monitors and TVs, every monitor and TV in here I bought secondhand, every single one. I have not bought a new flat screen monitor since ever. You're probably thinking I'm full of shit, aren't you? I have never bought a brand new flat screen monitor, and I have 100 of them, and I use them, and I've used them, and I've always used them. You know why? Because they're a dime a dozen. I can walk into Habitat for Humanity and buy a beautiful 32-inch Dell screen for $8. And if it don't work, I bring it back. They give me my $8 back. I got 3 32-inch TVs back here that are upright. I'm using them upright, like this. Makes a great background, okay? I got those TVs for $10 a piece at Habitat for Humanity. 32-inch TVs. I take the feet off of them. I turn them up on their side. I sit them on the desk. Boom. They're there. 3 computer monitors. Those little thin computers I was telling you about, they have 2 display ports and an SVGA, and they all 3 work at the same time. So when you buy this little thin client computer for $95, it drives 3 screens. So now you can use one of those 3 screens to drive a big screen that you can put behind you as your background. Or you can have 3 screens up here so you can do 3 different things at one time. When you're doing multi-screen programming like this, it takes 5 screens to do this. I have things back here. I have things here. I have here, 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 and up there. Up here, I've got my studio screen where I can see my numbers and I can see my chat room. I've got my Streamlabs here in studio mode, side by side, set up there. I have the radar and the flight tracker and the scanner feeds all on this screen, one in front of the other. And over here is my research screen. This screen, I basically have all my tabs open for all my different searches that I do on YouTube. I have all my tabs open for my different AIs that I'm using. I've got all my tabs open for my resource pages and my news pages. Everything's already here ready to go. I can flip right through it. When I'm going to talk to you about something, I drag it over to this screen and I can talk to you because this screen is right below the camera, and that way I can look mostly at the camera. These two screens are secondary. I use them to put up everything, viewer counts or more radar or whatever I need, but those are also hooked to the same system. This system actually has 6 screens on it. It will have 7 when I get done. I've got a new graphics card going in this that's going to mount actually below the current graphic card, and I'll be able to have 7 screens hooked directly up to the computer. The more screens you have, some people look at screens as being complicated. More screens, more complicated. I don't want that, but it's not that way at all. More screens makes everything easier, okay? Because now my studio screen up here is always up. It's always there. It's always ready, okay? And I look up and I see it. I don't have to move something out of the way to see your chat room. I can see my radar. I got 3 things stacked here, but at least one of them is always up, and I can see all the other ones stacked, and I can get to them really easy. My Streamlabs is never covered. It's always on top. That's all that I do on the primary screen. And then over here is all my researching and stuff. So it's nice to have multiple screens. It makes a really big difference when you're trying to put on a professional broadcast, because you got to look stuff up and do stuff off screen and then move it to on screen. All right, let me go through the chat again real quick. I don't have an AM call sign. I have a GMRS call sign and a ham radio call sign. But I get what you're saying. I should have an AM station coming out of here. I do have a 40-foot tower in my yard, and I have a 25-foot tower. The 40-foot tower has a UHF VHF GP9 at the top, and it has several other UHF VHF antennas on it. The second one is over here on the other side of the shack. It's 25 foot, and it has a 6-meter beam on it right now that I'm using for Magic Band season. And if you don't know what that is, I can just look in my past videos for Magic Band, and it will come right up. Yeah, I've got a computer garden, and I've also got a crop of antennas, an antenna farm growing outside. Let's see, Ryzen like rye bread. It's R-Y-Z-O-N, I think. Rosin, R-I-Z-O-N, I think, but I'm not sure. But it's the maker of a certain chip, a certain kind of chip that I like that seems to work very well. I bought a UV25 because of you. Now you're forcing me to rebuild my shack. I'm sorry. I have victimized you. I am so sorry. Not really. I love talking people into buying radios because they always have fun with them. Come on. That UV25 is a beast. But man, that antenna that comes with it is it's goofy, but it's actually very effective. It puts out almost the promised wattage. It does really good. It puts out between 8 and 10 watts, depending on where you're at in the band. And yeah, I love the UV25. 1,000 channels, man, and it picks up AM airband. It does so many really cool things that most radios don't do. And I like it because it's big. It reminds me of my old public service radios. Yeah, Brian, see, I can't do used PCs because my thing is speed, and efficiency. I got to have a computer. The first thing I do when I get a computer is I change the operating mode to the least efficient, most productive possible, and and I set it up to where it just runs really fast. I used to overclock some. I had a buddy that would overclock my stuff. I'm not really doing that much anymore. I find that you can overclock your chip all you want, but you end up still with the same bus rates and the same data rates on everything, and it ends up not really being that much of a plus unless you really build the computer around it. And if you're going to build a really good computer around it, why overclock it? Just get the right chip. Let's see here. Yep, GMRS and ham. I've got both my licenses. My wife's got her GMRS. Joseph's got both of his licenses. I'm not familiar with that. Let's see. It's the AMD Ryzen, Ryzen. Thank you very much. I can't spell worth the crap. Thank God I'm bad at math because it takes the attention off that I'm bad at spelling. You know what, though? That cheap AF Bofang is still a decent radio. Are you a sad ham? Actually, I'm an anti-sad ham. Jerusalem is not nighttime. That camera's old. I don't know what's wrong with it. The Tel Aviv camera's live. I'm getting ready. I was going to sign off 20 minutes ago, and I just love talking to you guys, so I'm still here. The new Baofengs, the new stuff that's come out in the last year, the UV5RM, the UV25, and what's this thing? Radiodity's got this one, oh, shit, doesn't even say. This one's really good, too. There's a couple of really good ones out there. As far as a little bit older, the 8000 from TYT, the U8000 is really good, but that one's a little bit older. It's got the older display. These new ones, the display on these new ones, really big, huge, nice display. Look at that. You can even read it right on the camera. I mean, it's a huge, big display, and I need that for my old eyes. So I happen to like Baofeng equipment. It's cheap Chinese equipment. Yes, I'm not trying to fool anybody. I could make a Motorola sticker and stick it on here if I wanted to. The truth is, this is a really nice radio. And the other truth is, it's a $50 radio. If I'm out in the boat and I drop it overboard, we laugh about it. And I order another one. And it comes in 24 hours on Amazon with a full return policy. That's why I like Baofeng, because if I drop it, I drop it. It's no big deal. Yeah, I try not to disturb my neighbors too much. You know, luckily, the newer equipment, newer TVs, newer FM radios, newer equipment generally is not affected much at all by HF radio like in the old days. We used to have a real problem with our neighbors. Every time we would talk, the neighbor's TV would go out, and they can actually file complaints on you, and it can get a little weird. Luckily, that's kind of going away. Let's see, got two Moto XCL 5000s, FT891. I know that one. Let's see. There you go. Do you do FT8? I love FT8. I do a lot of FT8. I've gotten about 25,000 contacts on FT8, and that's not an exaggeration. Electric bill high. Yes, Stone River, my electric bill is high. Right now, I only shut down about half of this at night because a lot of it you can't shut down when it's broadcasting. It screws the screens all up and everything. I had to take out the 12,000 BTU air conditioner and put in a 30,000 BTU air conditioner because of the heat produced by the computers is so much that I had to go with an air conditioner that's literally for a room 5 times this size. And the reason is because I'm in South Florida where it's really hot. Even though I double insulated these walls, I built this way myself. I mean, it's double insulated. The ceiling is double insulated. It's insulated like a fool. But the problem is it's still South Florida, but it's the computers that are really making most of the heat. Now, all the lighting, of course, in here, I do have umbrella lighting, studio lighting. That's all LED. We're buying these little LED lights now, and you just kind of stick them around, and they add color and accent. And then I got umbrella lights up here that light, and I don't even put those on that bright. I got it turned down like 90%. And then, like, my wife's got the ring light back there. We've got different lights, but they're all LED. The monitors, I have a number of cold cathode monitors. Eventually, in the next 5 years, I hope to have everything switched out with LED monitors, and that will help even more on my electricity and more on my heat. The radio equipment puts out some heat, but I'm only running 4 radios for the Broadcastify feeds over there, but these radios all get turned off when I'm done at night. I turn all this stuff over here off so that it doesn't sit there and run when nobody's out here. But the Broadcastify stuff has to stay up all night. Yeah, FT8's great. FT8's great for seeing propagation patterns and stuff too. I live in the mountains of Southern California, and I know there is some people, I know they have ham radios. They can talk to so many people. They can, here's the thing. HF is not good for reliable communication, but it is good for communication. It's like if you had a relative in Florida and you lived in California and you wanted to try to contact each other after a major incident, after the power and the internet's been out for a prolonged period of time. You could do it, but here's the key. You would have to schedule times, like every day, every night at 10 p.m. on 7.25. We're going to come on and we'll hail each other and see if we can hear each other. And then every third or fourth night, you'll probably be able to talk. That's how it could be used by people in a real world situation. What is not practical is just having a radio and figuring I'm just going to call out and talk to whoever I want to talk to. Really? You've got food and you've got guns and you got water, and now you want to call and tell people that? You got to be careful who you tell and what you tell after a major incident like that. And a radio, although it sounds like it would be a wonderful thing to have, it's more of a receiver than a transmitter. You don't want to tell anybody where you're at. You only want to communicate with people that know you and people that you can speak to without actually saying what's going on. You want to have a few codes. You want to have a way to speak. You want to have times to come up on certain frequencies. You want to have a daytime, like every day at noon, we're going to meet on 14250. And then every night at 10 p.m., we're going to meet on 7.250. And then that way, every day, twice a day, we've got a chance that we can make contact with our relatives in Florida. And then that way, you only have to start it up, or you only have to use battery power just for a 10-minute window of time where you would then make those communications back and forth. This is the kind of thing where you can plan all you want, you can have all the radios you want and everything else, but if there's no plan, the actual plan on how we're going to do it, where we're going to do it, when we're going to do it, how we're going to do it, it's never going to happen. But it can be done. Ham radio is the place to do it. GMRS is a local radio service, so it'll be worthless unless they're less than 5 miles away, 20 miles away if they've got larger radios. But we're talking about low band ionospheric communication. Okay, we're talking basically ground cloud ground communication. That kind of communication is sporadic. It's not continuous. It doesn't work every day all the time. You have to use certain bands at certain times. But if it's planned out properly, that would be the way to do it. You would say, look, your camp and my camp will turn on our radios at the exact same time every day. And eventually we'll be able to talk and we'll be able to communicate and we'll have codes so we can let everybody know that we're okay or whatever. All right, let me see what's going on here. What's the temperature in this room right now? It's about 75 in here. Even with all the computers running, this air conditioner will bring it as cold down as I want to, down into the 60s if I need to. This air conditioner is huge. It's designed for like a whole house or a large area. And so I had to do that to make sure I could keep it cool in here. It's amazing how much a couple of computers will raise the temperature in like a bedroom or something because they're just not designed for it. A computer puts out 3 or 4 times the amount of heat a person puts out, which is quite a lot. And yes, tracking people that are talking on the radio is possible. Not likely, but possible. Yeah, don't advertise what you have. That's important for survival. Where's field day in Fort Myers? I'm going to be doing field day with a club in Tampa, a new club in Tampa. I'm going to go up and do it with them. I want to be a part of it and help them out with their field day. So that's going to be fun. But that being said, here in Fort Myers, the Fort Myers Amateur Radio Club does their field day at the North Fort Myers Recreation Center, and they set up their antennas out on 2 different football fields, and they set up under a huge pavilion that they have there at the facility. And they're going to do, I think, 6 or 7 radios this year. So there'll be a 6 or a 7 station. Yeah. Sacred Terra. Yeah. And I'll tell you what, a lot of ham radio people don't like me because I do tell it like it is. And ham radio is a hobby, and hobby people don't like you talking shit about their hobby. And I've actually pissed some people off because I actually call out the ARRL for the disaster that they are. And people don't like it. But oh well. Yeah, you can hail CQ. You can call CQ and talk to other stations. But what I'm talking about is like in a disaster when everybody's down, there's a finite amount of food, people are killing each other. You don't want to be on there. CQ, CQ, I'm right over here. That's what I was talking about. You want to just have closed private communications using coded communications on a certain frequency on a certain time of each day. That's the best way to use ham radio after a biblical event, if you will. But yeah, calling out into the blind, calling CQ, that's great. I do that a lot. You don't get a lot of response, but you do if there's a lot of times you do if there's contesting. I do a lot of contesting only because you can find people on the air when there's actually contesting going on. Mashtastic, heard of it, not that familiar with it. 915 megahertz. Interesting. That's getting copied to my notes so I can read about it. Joseph was telling me something about those mashup networks. And yeah, I'm interested. I hate to sound like the old guy. That sounds like some of that new whippersnapper shit. But no, it sounds neat. I want to check it out. I'm like the old guy. I don't know about that. What is that? Pretty good explanation. You see, it's text-based, GPS tracking and marking. What's great about anything that does that, does stuff like that can also be used for propagation research. My websites for propagation research are PSK Reporter and VHF.DXView, whatever. Just put those in, then you'll get them. They'll come right up. Just put them right in. It's VHF DXView. I put an extra R in there, but VHF DXView. view. If you just put that in Google, it'll come right up. Those are both free websites where you can put in the band that you want to watch, and it will actually show you where the band's open and where it's closed. I use these on a daily. I've got a few of them up over here right now. I watch the VHF.dx view. I have that up 24 hours a day because I do 2-meter sideband. I love 2-meter sideband. It's something a lot of people don't do, but I've got a TR751A over here. It's a Kenwood. Great little radio. I bought it used at the swap shop. I'm like the third or fourth owner. I think all the previous ones I'm sure are dead. I got this radio, and I've been talking to people up and down the coast. I talked to a guy 300 miles away on VHF sideband. Pretty cool. And right now, we've got VHF FT8 sideband going on over there right now, and it alerts me when someone comes up, and I run over there and grab them real quick. So I'm even receiving that right now. I love FT8, man. All right, Jack. Well, there you go. I think a little bit of 2 days ago's discussion, but that's cool. You guys can discuss whatever you want in here. I don't police speech. Wow. Sacred Terra. Come on now. Okay. All right. Let's end NASA. Why would we end? I do want to. I want to ask this. I'm not going to get political, but I will ask this question. Why would we end? The only reason we would end NASA is because SpaceX is doing it better. But why would we end NASA? Are you one of these anti-space exploration people? Hey, Rob, what's up, buddy? Rob's been one of my longtime supporters. Are you anti-NASA because you're anti going into space to find answers about creation? Because I mean, I completely understand that. I don't agree with it, but I understand it completely. And I'm very open-minded, and I'm perfectly fine with it. I'm just asking. Because I find that such an interesting take that, hey, we don't want to see what's out there because we might not like it. Or is it something different than that? Tell me, because I want to know. All right, why is this not going there? There we go. All right, we'll turn this off here. That Jerusalem is definitely no good. So I'm going to go ahead and blank it out while we're finishing up here because I don't want people to think I'm putting up something that's crap. All right, there we go. There we go. Let's get rid of all that. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, let's see here. I was watching earlier but went outside to work. Working a satellite. 4 contacts, 4 states. There you go. Rob's working satellites. What he does, he's got an antenna that he directs at a passing satellite that's going overhead, and he talks to the satellite, and then the signal goes to the satellite repeats the signal and sends it back down to Earth. So now anyone else that can see that satellite can also hear his transmission, and it turns the satellite into a spacecraft repeater, which is really, really cool. The space station does this. They also have a radio up there that they send pictures from, SSTV, and they also, every now and then, the astronauts are actually ham radio operators, and they come on and talk to us as they're going overhead. One of the fun things I do, and I still do it because I love doing it. I'd even do it at work. I bring all the guys out from work, and I show them. SSTV, I bring my tablet, and I bring my Baofeng radio, and I put it on the SSTV channel for the ISS, and I look up when they're going to be going overhead when they're doing one of the SSTV events, and I put it on that frequency, and we go outside, and I hold my tablet on top of the radio like this. No wires, no nothing. It's just hearing the sound from the radio. It goes right into the tablet, and here it comes. You hear, and it's using the, like what used to be old fax, and it's sending the signal as it's going overhead, and my tablet is decoding the picture coming from the International Space Station. It's cool as hell, dude. It's literally coming right into my cheap little Baofeng radio. It's picking up an actual transmission being made from the International Space Station, and you make it, you download the picture, and then you send your pictures in. You see how many you can get and who can get the clearest pictures. It's pretty cool. Your rig is going to become self-aware. I hope not. What are you doing, Dave? Yes, they are going to allow the ISS to return to Earth into the Pacific Ocean at some point. That's true. They will return it to Earth just like they did Skylab and just like they did Soyuz. Everything that goes up has to come down. The space station will not stay up indefinitely. It is in a decaying orbit that has to be maintained by gyroscopes and thrusters. And when all that stuff fails, it will come down somewhere. So what they do is they will control where it comes down. They will take everything we can salvage from it. I personally, I've always thought, why not just keep building on it and then just start letting the sections go, the old sections. It's all built modular, right? I've always wondered, why not just keep sending up modules? Now that we have the heavy lifters over with Elon, why don't we just send up the big sections, send up the big stuff, and connect it all together, and then as we get it going and we don't need those old sections anymore, we'll take all the equipment off we don't need, and we'll cut it loose and we'll let it re-enter. And those pieces would be small enough that we wouldn't have to worry about it killing somebody on the ground. Yeah, there's a lot of space junk up there. And NASA and also the space commissions and also Elon and everybody, nobody wants space debris up there, nobody. So they're going to do whatever they can do to try to control the amount of space debris we've got in orbit up there. The good news is every bit of space debris up there will eventually come back, but it could take 100 years depending on what orbit it's in, maybe 1,000. Remember that failed spacecraft, that failed Russian spacecraft? It was just a month ago? I don't know. I put up a post about it, but I don't know if I can find it with any relative ease. But I put up a thing about it. There was a spacecraft. It was a landing module that they were sending to Venus, I think it was. And it ended up, it did not reach escape velocity. And because it never reached escape velocity, it slowly returned back to Earth over the course of a pretty long period of time. It actually slowly returned back to Earth, and it just came back. This thing was launched, I don't know, it was like in the 70s or something, and this thing just now, here it is right here, the Cosmos 482, 53 years ago, Russia launched the Cosmos 482, a relic of the Cold War era. They launched it into space. It was originally launched to explore Venus, but it never made it beyond the grasp of Earth. Instead, it remained in an orbit for 53 years, a ghost of a failed mission, until its recent re-entry captured the attention of space watchers around the world. Cosmos 482 was one of several probes launched under the Venera program, the Soviet Union's ambitious and often groundbreaking effort to explore Venus, the solar system's most hostile planet. The spacecraft was designed to endure crushing atmospheric pressures, searing temperatures, and acidic clouds. However, the mission failed before it ever made there. Just after launch on May 31st, 1972, a malfunction on the onboard timer caused a premature stage separation. The spacecraft, still locked in Earth's gravity well, broke into 4 pieces. 2 components quickly re-entered Earth's atmosphere and burned up. The remaining 2, including the main Venus lander and its engine section, were flung into a highly elliptical orbit and elliptical unstable orbit. Built to survive Venus, they were worried that this would actually be a strong enough piece that it would make it all the way down to the ground. But I do believe it went into an ocean. But anyway, yeah, so there you go. So this thing went into an elliptical orbit. What that means is one side of the orbit was very long. That's an elliptical orbit. And each comets are on elliptical orbits, for example. A comet will go so far away we won't even know if it'll ever come back. And then one day, here it comes. The sun finally turned that thing around. It took 1,000 years for the sun's little micro pull on that thing to finally make it stop. And one day it stops. And it starts to move back towards Earth. Sometimes on an arc, it'll come up and it will arc back. And it'll come around and start heading back towards the sun again. A lot of times the arc will be such that it will plunge into the sun and die. But most of the time, it will miss the sun, putting it out the other side in another elliptical, and it will go out, way out again, until it finally gets yanked around and comes back again. It's amazing. This one took 52 years to finally orbit around in an elliptical fashion until it finally lost enough. It came close enough that it got caught in directly in our gravity well and was brought in. That's really cool. Let's see here. Yes, the VHF band is highly susceptible to what they call tropospheric ducting. Like when you hear a radio station from 100 miles away on your radio in your car, that's called tropospheric ducting. And that is thermal layers in the atmosphere. And those thermal layers will reflect higher band frequencies like VHF and UHF, 50 megahertz up to about 500 megahertz, get reflected on thermal surfaces, cold patches in the atmosphere. When we get up to 6 meters, which is 50 megahertz, we get this thing called ionospheric patches or magic banding. And what magic band is these ionospheric reflective patches move across the globe in the northern and southern hemispheres separately, and they move from east to west, okay? They move basically the same way that the sun does across the globe. And they'll move at a fairly rapid rate. They'll move off of England and come over the northern part of the U.S. in a matter of an hour or two. They move pretty quick. And as this reflective surface moves, you can take your 6-meter beam, which I've got up there right now, and I can direct my 6-meter beam directly at that reflective surface in the clouds, and I bounce off of it, and it bounces down states away. I've gotten 1,000 miles with 6 meter before. I've gotten multi hops with 6 meters, and it's bouncing off of these ionospheric patches. It's a really cool science. Then you get into low band or HF. Now we're talking 28 megahertz and down. Specifically also on 28 megahertz, 14 megahertz, 7 megahertz. These are some of the really big bands. Now, when we get down to those frequencies, it's the ionosphere itself that actually reflects. That's why we're not really looking for patches anymore. This is basically the state of the entire ionosphere that becomes important, okay, when we're talking about the lower frequencies. So if the sun has got the ionosphere in a state of flux, okay, you're not going to reflect that well, okay? It's like looking in a bathroom glass. You can't really see through it because and it reflects off of it. You can't see any reflection off of it. If it's smooth glass, you'll see a reflection off of it. And so when the ionosphere is really smooth, you get a really good reflection point. Now, sometimes when the ionosphere gets wiped out by a big solar event, you'll get crazy openings. They're brief, but they're crazy. One night I'm sitting here and on 7 meters, it opened up into Japan, and I'm listening to people talking, and they're like sitting in the next room. It's spooky. I'm calling people on phone, CQ Japan, and they're answering me. And they're talking to me. Most people in Japan talk in English on ham radio, thank God, because I know no Japan at all, Japanese at all. So they literally were talking to me, and they're like, "It's wide open, it's wide open." I'm like, "I know, my God, I'm in Florida. You're on the other side of the world." It's so amazing when you talk to somebody that far away, right from my radio directly to their radio, with nothing in between other than the ionosphere of the planet. It's absolutely amazing. I just can't get enough of it. It's just great. Dave, have a good night, buddy. Gunny's Adventures, there you go. We're all in an elliptical orbit. Yes, technically all orbits are somewhat elliptical. There's no such thing as a perfect orbit. You're absolutely correct. Our moon is in a very erratic orbit. Yes, it's Ryzen. Yes, Ryzen. Ryzen. And like I said, those Ryzen 5s are good. The Ryzen 9 is what I've got in my big system here, and it's a wonderful, wonderful chip. Yeah, in my shower up top. Yeah. All right. All right. Anything else, guys? Real quick, I'm getting ready to call it. We're at 3 hours and 15 minutes. We've had a lot of people come through tonight. About 3,600 people come through tonight. I'm very happy about that. Lots of folks come in. We've got over 100 people watching right now. I hate to shut it down with so many people watching, but I have to learn to let it go because I will be back tomorrow. Oh, man. Let's see here. Most of the major advancements in technology are still just regular radio frequency stuff. Yes, the frequencies keep getting higher and higher. I think that's the big difference. There was a time when HF was considered high frequency. That's why they call it HF. But now we consider it very low. VHF, very high frequency. We used to think that was the cat's ass. Then all of a sudden UHF came out. Oh my God, it's so high it burns you. It literally burn your fingers. And now we're up into the thousands of megahertz. Ham radio operators can now use 23 megahertz, 32 megahertz, and there's higher bands than that they can get into now. So it's really cool. So it is still the same principle. It's still the Marconi radio. Yes. It's still radio. But it's just being done in such a different way now. It's amazing. Digital versus analog. We're using a much narrower bandwidth now. That's the other thing. We used to use large swaths. The Spark Gap transmitter that used to send CW used to use huge swaths of bandwidth. And then every time there's a radio advancement, we get smaller and smaller on not only, not only what we need, but the size of the actual bandwidth that we're talking on. Like digital now, the bandwidth is so narrow that you can now put 5 different radios operating on what used to just be the space that one radio was operating on. That's bandwidth, that's big. But now you do things like DMR. It's a time shift radio. There's two. The radio actually only transmits half the time. It either transmits on the first half of each second or it transmits on the second half of each second. And when it transmits on the second half of the second, it sends 1 full second of data. So in other words, your radio is working only half the time. It's transmitting and receiving only half the time, which means I could be having a separate conversation on a separate net, on a separate mode, to separate people using the same exact frequency and the same bandwidth and the same tower that you're using, and have 2 separate conversations. It's amazing. And that's just, the stuff is just absolutely amazing. Thanks for being here. Ding, ding, ding. Or actually, you're saying good night to someone else. Thanks for being here, Douglas. I appreciate it. Thanks, everybody, for being here. I do appreciate it. I hope you find these talks stimulating in some way. If you're not a ham radio operator, but this sounds interesting, you might want to consider it. You may not care at all to ever talk on the radio. You can still be in ham radio. It's not just about talking on the radio. It's about building radios and building antennas and running wires and putting up systems and doing field days and contests and sending pictures and setting up digital modes and setting up repeaters and nodes like we are now with the Freedom Network. There's just so many things you can do in ham radio. It's not just like talking on radios. It's really, really, really a lot of fun. All right, guys, is there anything else? I'm going to take one last call for any comments or anything you'd like me to comment on tonight. I'll come back in tomorrow night, health permitting. My health isn't perfect, but I usually am pretty good. I can come on. It's a little rough after work, but I'm loving this. I'm doing this. I'm going to start doing this every night, I think. Gunny, we really didn't have a topic of conversation. I did a complete news roundup around the globe. We talked about the different squares on the screen, and then we talked about the different programs I use here, and we went to ham radio stuff. That was it. There was no actual main topic. By the way, all of my videos are set wide open. They're set to be DVR'd. They're set to be viewed posthumously, whatever you want to call it. They're set so that you can go back anytime and look at them anyway. You can share them. You can clip them. I don't put any restrictions. I don't put any moderation on my chat room or any restrictions on my chats. Oh my God, really, Rob? 50 years? I've been licensed like 5 or 6. You got your license at age 14. Yeah, ham radio licenses are like pilot's licenses. You get it when you get it. There is no age limit. And you can keep it as long, unlike the pilot's license, you get to keep it till you die. Yeah. Well, Gunny, it was towards the end, and I am going to go in it. I am going to bring. It is one of the genres here on the station, but but our conversations will not center around it when I'm doing lives like this. But I will take ham radio questions, science questions, space weather, terrestrial weather, paranormal. I love talking UFOs, ghosts, paranormal, intelligences. I'll talk any of that anytime you guys want. We'll do a whole night on that if you want. I love doing different conversations. I did a lot of ghost research in my day. I ran the Florida Paranormal Research Group down here for about 8 years, and I did some groundbreaking research using light and sound frequencies and using static energy and things like that. And I would love to talk about that one night with you guys. I did a lot of research with lighting frequencies with ghosts. And we were getting down to what temperatures work with ghosts and things like that. And it was fun. It was a lot of fun. I really felt like we were starting to hone in on these intelligences. But I will tell you, it's very difficult to run a paranormal research group because everybody wants to run around like Jason and Grant on taps, and nobody wants to actually do the scientific research, write the white papers, do the logging, take the time, make it real, do the repeating tests so that you can get the scientific results. And after so many years of trying to make scientists out of people that were not scientists, I gave up. Because if it's not real science, I don't want to do it. All these jackasses run around, look, it's a ghost, oh my God, I got pictures of a ghost. I said, you got pictures of dust, all right? Trust me, if you get a picture of a ghost, I'll be the first one to tell you, you know, that's an interesting picture, let's look at that, okay? But most pictures I see, I can debunk right off the bat, but that doesn't mean that ghosts don't exist. And so I got to the point where I was mad at my people all the time because they won't do the scientific research. I have to debunk everything they do. And then when they finally bring me something, I'm like, good, This is it. Write the white paper. Let's come back tomorrow night. Let's start your paper. Let's get this written. Start your evidence. Get everything put in one file. Let's get everything together. And then tomorrow night we're gonna try to repeat this. We have to repeat it 5 nights in a row. I'm not going to count scientific evidence unless we can get a repeatable phenomenon. If it's not a repeatable phenomenon and a documentable phenomenon, if I can't repeat it and I can't document it, it ain't freaking science. And no one ever could understand that. And so ghost hunting to this day continues in its weird ass obscurity of people running around looking like Jason and Grant on taps. There you go. Sorry, I just went off on a little rant there. You're a ghost agnostic. Well, that's okay, Grady. Nobody's perfect, buddy. I'm just kidding. I'm totally kidding. Truth is, I don't care whether you believe or not. I have an open mind. I believe. If you don't believe, that's fine. It doesn't matter. It really don't. I'm not going to try to convince you it's real, but I'm also going to provide you with everything you need to see that it's real. And then the rest is up to you. You're a Pleiadian from Pleiades? No joke. That's cool. What's the day-night cycle like there? And is the gravity 1-to-1? EVPs are great to get deep into. I've got many classes. I'll tell you guys, if we get 20 EVPs together, I would love to do a night where we come in here and play EVPs, and then we'll take polls and we'll vote on real or fake. I would love to do that. You guys think that'd be fun? Yeah, maybe I should do that over on my After Dark channel. StarShip After Dark. In a world where everything scares the shit out of you. Oh, well, Grady, I've been staying up at night worrying about that galaxy hitting our galaxy. I'm so glad it's not going to do that. I love it. It's like we got enough to worry about. I'm not going to worry about the Andromeda galaxy coming to hit us. What about if the simulation theory is correct? Well, now you're talking something I'll talk about. I tend to believe that all religions are based in truth. However, they're not perfect. All theories are based in truth. However, they're not perfect. I believe that we're in the petri dish. I believe that our universe, our visible universe that we see, is simply in someone else's petri dish. We could be the green shit growing inside of someone else's science project. And the reason we don't see beyond where we're at is because they don't want us to see beyond where we're at. You ever think that maybe they made space so dense that we don't ever try? I mean, you have to admit, warp theory, hyperspace theory, I mean, this shit's out there. It's going to be hundreds of years before we can travel faster than the speed of light. I almost think it's designed that way. I think that it's made to look like it's just that far away. I think there's a lot there could be truth to the fact that this is just an experiment. Look, if you had the ability to take life forms and put them in a simulated environment and make it real for them, and then put them in a time dilation field and speed that time up, you could watch time exist. You could watch cavemen exist. You could watch the dinosaurs walk the planet. You could watch everything happen, and you could create the entire thing, and you could watch it like a TV show. And it's happening right in front of you. And you can introduce things. You can introduce new events or new facts or new things. And I think that a lot of times what's happened, because we see things like the quantum leaps that we've had in technology. We've had several quantum leaps in technology. I believe that solid state technology came from the Roswell crash. Why do you think we had a quantum leap in technology 10 or 15 years after we get alien technology out of the desert? Suddenly we come up with solid state technology. You mean to tell me humans lived on this planet for 100,000 years? Some form of human has lived here? And yet we've only had all this technology for the last 100 years? We've only had steam driven machines for so many 100 years? I mean, that's it? You're telling me that all those million years and we didn't have nothing, and then all of a sudden all this has just happened? It's too much for random chance, and it's too fast to happen naturally. It's quantum leaps. And anytime you have quantum leaps, you have I think the original computing was possibly a quantum leap. And then a solid state technology, definitely a quantum leap. And now AI, the internet was a quantum leap. AI is a huge quantum leap. And AI is growing exponentially every 3 months. The experiment is accelerating. It's crazy. And I almost think that we're just an experiment, and that they're literally speeding it up to see how it goes. They want to see how it turns out. Call it God. If it's taken care of us, if it provides for us, if it created us, it is God, right? And who's to say? Maybe the gray aliens are our keepers. And that's why every now and then we see one of them by accident. I think when we see UFOs, it's an accident. Their cloaking device went down temporarily. It's an accident. They slipped into our dimension temporarily. It's an accident. They slipped into our time temporarily. It's an accident. Their machine that makes them invisible quit working. Whatever you want to call it. And so we see them briefly. Our pilots see them briefly. Our mariners see them briefly. We see them briefly. MUFON gets 12,000 reports a year that's documented. They're there. But why don't we see them all the time? Well, because I think we only see them when there's a breakdown in their technology. Some error is made. The wrong button is pushed. And so a brief time we can see them. I'd love to talk about this one night. We could do this all night. We are very creative and very innovative. But I have to wonder about what I consider to be a quantum leap. A leap that is just way beyond what should have happened during that time. Boy, we've got Tulsa, Oklahoma is just about to get a major storm move through. What we've got here right now is this is called a bow echo, and this is serious business right here. What happens? You see this? This is called a bow echo. I'm drawing my cursor right in front of it. See that bow echo? It comes down, and when it bows out like that and you start seeing that real heavy rain right behind the bow, that is a bow echo. This is going to come in really strong in this direction, and it's going to have a front on it. It's going to probably have 60, 70 mile an hour winds, easy. And this is just about to go through downtown Tulsa. I just wanted to put that out there. Probably going to be a pretty major event there for Tulsa. I don't think it's going to be a major event, but I do think it's going to be a major storm for them. It's going to be a pretty good storm coming through. The other channel we've got up over at at Simplex Radio. He's got a view up. He's doing the storm chasers right now. Where's that one out of? Jennings, Oklahoma, getting their ass handed to them right now by a storm. I'll throw this link back in here for our 2 channels. If you guys go and subscribe. We're trying to get one channel over 100 and my wife's channel over 1,000. If you guys could help us out with that, I'd appreciate it. The hardest thing on YouTube is getting over those hurdles, the 100, the 1,000, the 10,000. It's so hard to surpass those hurdles. So if you guys could give us a hand. All right, 80 mile. It could be up. Rob could easily up to 80. Yeah, I mean, look at that bow echo on there. Is that something else or what? That's a very pronounced bow echo, and that's why we're seeing all the power outages behind it. Okay, I understand. Palladians, I understand. I've actually heard this discussed on Coast to Coast AM, which I'm a big fan of. It's on my radio station at night and 600 other radio stations around the world, 1 to 5 a.m. Eastern. Coast to Coast AM with George Norrie. I love that show. Used to be Coast to Coast with Art Bell, but he passed a while back. Great show. I heard about that on there, but it's been a while. I learned one night I was listening to Coast, and this woman came on talking about indigo children. And I'm going to tell you guys something. I had an epiphany that night. I sat there for 4 hours listening to this woman talk to George Norrie on the radio about indigo children and star children. And you could look it up, indigo children. There's books written on it. It's kind of a new age spirit. It's kind of a new type of spirit that comes down. These people are different than other people. And the lady went through the 16 things, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm 15 out of 16. And the last one, I'm probably that one too. I just don't want to admit it. And I was like bawling. I was like emotional. I was like, oh my God, someone understands me. I bought the book and read it cover to cover. I bought 2 other ones and read them. I freaked out. I'm like, oh my God, this is me. I'm an indigo child. I finally figured it out. And when you finally find that theory, even if it is a bit of an obscure one, when you find that theory out there that fits you, then it's your reality. It is. And there's nothing crazy about it. It is your reality. And I agree with that. Yeah, Coast to Coast. And yeah, on Halloween night, it's Ghost to Ghost, and they do ghost stories all night. It's great. Oh, God, I love Coast to Coast. Thanks, Richard. I appreciate that. Yeah, John B. Wells is good. Ian Punnett. There's been a bunch of good ones on there. But it all goes back to the master, Art Bell. He was the master. But I'm a big, on my channel here locally, my FM radio channel that I work at, about 10 years ago, we got an opportunity to interview George Norrie on our local radio. It's local, but it's a big station. We have a powerhouse station here. We get up to 100,000 listeners. And I got a chance to interview him. And I told my host, I want you to interview George Norrie. And he said, okay, let's do it. Let's set it up. And we set it all up. And 5 minutes before the interview, he walked in and he goes, I'm not going to do it. You are. And he made me come in and interview him. And so the producer of the show got to come in and do the interview with George Norrie. And I'll never forget that. I was so ecstatic. I was scared. I was like, oh my God. But yeah, I got to interview George. What a great guy. He stayed up an hour and a half after he got off the air to do my interview. And I just got a real good energy from him. I just love that guy. And I've listened to him probably 1,000 hours to him. I think some aliens don't want to help humanity. That could be true, but let me tell you something else. They don't want to destroy humanity. They don't. They could press a button and we'd be gone. So these things that we see, these aliens that are making, they're making 35G turns. These things that are traveling 4,000 miles an hour and turning right and left and up and down. These things that enter the ocean at hundreds of miles an hour. These things that emerge from the ocean at hundreds of miles an hour. That's being reported by our pilots, our jet pilots, our military now reporting these things. If you can have a spacecraft or any craft that can move at 1,000 miles an hour and make a sudden right turn without killing everything inside, you have inertial dampening, like on Star Trek. That's how Gene Roddenberry explained how warp drive works. He said the front of the ship will pull you forward at the same rate that the acceleration is pulling you backwards. It's called inertial dampening. And of course, once again, Gene Roddenberry was right. This is what you have to do in order to go to warp speed. You know, if we had to go to warp speed, if we had to go to light speed 1, to just one, basically just the speed of light, it would take years to accelerate to that speed at 5 Gs. I want you to think about living at 5 Gs for 5 years. That's 5 times Earth gravity for 5 years in order to reach almost the speed of light. Then you got to turn the ship around and do it again for 5 years to slow back down before you get to the other end. And then, of course, we get into the actual velocity on either end and all that, but that gets real complicated. But the point is the force that you get from the acceleration has to be nulled out somehow. It has to be. So what we want to do is we want to pull enough off of the front. We want to pull forward enough that the people inside are being pulled backwards and forwards at the exact same rate. That's inertial dampening. That's the only way that these craft can move like this. The only way is if they have power over gravity. If they have power over gravity, they are 100 years ahead of us. We do not. The only way that we know how to defeat gravity is centrifugal force, okay, and thrust. That's it. We do not know of another way. You can put somebody in the water and make them equally buoyant. That's one way to do it. You can beat gravity that way. You can beat it by spinning something around and walking around on the outside of the spinning object like they do in the space movies. The Martian, there's a lot of the space movies where the ship spins around. 2001: A Space Odyssey, 2010. The ship spins around. And then everybody lives on the outside of the spinning part, and that gives them centrifugal gravity. Or the third way would be thrust gravity, meaning that if you're constantly accelerating to a faster speed, then that will provide gravity. And so you accelerate at a rate that gives you 1 G worth of gravity, basically, of inertial thrust gravity. That's how you do it. But one of these has to be done, or we have to learn how to manipulate gravitational fields with energy. We cannot do that yet. Is that Ed? Yeah. I'm coming. My cat wants me to go to bed, guys. That's it. That's my call right there. Can you check on him? He sounds like you. I think there's a fight or something. Well, you might want to grab Ed because he will lock up with him. Got some feral cat in my yard. My other cats are not happy about it. Let's see here. It's always fun in my neighborhood. Yeah, I'll talk Sasquatch every now and then, but I got to tell you, when I talk Sasquatch, it's not like other people. I talk Sasquatch because I believe there's a reality to it. I think it's extra dimensional or extra temporal. I think we're seeing a glimpse of another time. Look, if you were going to see a glimpse of 100,000 years ago, it'd probably look like an Encino Man walking around, right? I mean, kind of makes sense. Or does it make more sense that these things are walking around in 50 states and we've never found one? See, I'm not saying they're not real. I'm just saying I don't think they're corporeal. I think they're extratemporal, extraterrestrial, or extra-dimensional. That's all I'm saying. All right, guys, I'm going to call it. It's been fun. I hope this has been stimulating. I'm going to come on tomorrow night. This week I'm working late because of the way it's scheduled at work this week. I'm there till 8 o'clock Eastern. I can't get on here till 9 o'clock Eastern. Starting next week, I'll be coming on an hour earlier. I'll be coming on at 8 o'clock Eastern going forward. So this week only, I'm going to be coming on an hour later at 9 o'clock. But my plan is to start coming on at 8 o'clock. That way, more people can participate. It'll be earlier. Oh, I don't know about that, Grady. I don't know about that. I actually think that that humans have evolved quite a bit just in the last 300 years. And I'm not talking technology. I'm talking about the actual human genome. I think is actually. I think it's evolution's always there. Let's see here. There you go. Oh, man. All right, everybody. Thanks for the love. Thanks for the hearts. Please give me the thumbs up and a subscribe. I really appreciate it. Subscribe to our other channels here. If you guys haven't done it, we really appreciate it. And I guess that's about it for tonight. If there's any last minute, throw it in there. This is last call for any comments. There's the Simplex Radio. There's my wife's channel, Carlotta Alata, and our After Dark channel. I haven't put that one in at all. So let me just put that one in once tonight. There's my After Dark channel. On that channel, we put up like uncensored radio and stuff on there that I don't want to put on the monetized channel. So I'm just being honest with you. That's why I have it. I put stuff over there that's questionable to see how it goes, but it's a backup channel. I hope you guys appreciate that I'm straight up about everything. I'm a full transparency guy. I am all about Constitution and free speech, and I hope you guys enjoy what you hear. This is where the Constitution and science and the paranormal all collide. Have a good night, everybody. On behalf of Simplex Radio, who's been here with me all evening, and on behalf of our other stations here also, thanks for being here tonight. This is StarShip Studios. I am live in Southwest Florida. My name's Ian. This is StarShip Studios and StarShip Adventures. We'll see you down the log or on the next adventure. Have a good one out there, everybody. 7 3s, and have a good night.